Be real. I just say, you know what, you're going to come out here, you're going to eat 1,000 flies. That's it. Basic, straightforward, there's thousands of flies. It's 56 degrees. Bring your water. But I'm telling you, get ready for the flies. Stay hydrated. I'm not telling you it's shit because it's 56 degrees. I'm telling you, bring your water, man. You're going to need water. Get a good jug. Trying to be as positive as possible. It's going to be like, because I don't wear a fly net and the other guys do, and they're all hitting them and they're freaking out. And for some reason, I've got this patience. I don't care. I can just sit there and they are just boom. And I get off on other people that think they're like, how are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm all good. The tool that hangs off a wire that goes into the ground is an electronic system that's talking to an onboard system, which is live as well. So that has to send signals back and forth along the wire. And the wire can be 600 meters long. So you've got data going through that wire. It's trying to run a system. It's trying to boot it up. There's about 50 things that are running all at once. And once all that's in harmony and sync, then it runs and then we're off and racing. So when it's going, let the good times roll.
Welcome to the Beers with a Miner podcast. My name is Mad Mumsy and I've been driving the huge dump trucks in Australian open cut mines for over 10 years now. I wish I had $1 for everyone who said to me, how does a little thing like you drive those big trucks? You must be rich. How do I get a job doing that? My mining friends are asked these questions all the time too. This is what started the Mad Mumsy journey to share stories and tips from living a mining lifestyle and to let others know what it's really like. Tune in each episode as I sit down for a relaxed chat, usually over a few beers, with a fellow miner. Women and blokes with various experience, roles and opinions share their lessons and stories with you. Not everyone is cut out to be a miner, but why not? What does it take to thrive and survive in this industry? Now, let's dig in. Get it? Dig? Mining? Crack me up. Hello and welcome to episode 89 of Beers with Miner podcast. My name is Mad Mumsy and this is a happy hour episode that goes for a long time. It's more like a Sunday session. I had so much fun speaking with Mitch, who you are about to meet. I will keep this short because, as I said, we're going long. But Mitch is passionate to help people new to mining or those thinking about it, just like I do. He's also kind of the opposite of me. I'm so rah-rah most of the time, as you would know. However, he's quite calm and just has this very easy listening voice and persona about him. And I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. We met on TikTok, which is the new way, right? I follow people who are also sharing things on there about mining, and he's just getting fantastic engagement and sharing things all about working in the mines from his perspective. He has lots of videos from site as well, and we talk about how the hell is he allowed to do that, and also why, if you're not allowed to, you shouldn't. We cover that many things that I need to shut up and just let you listen. It's amazing. It's great. He's funny and insightful and just a bloody legend, He's over in WA. I'm in Queensland, so there's lots of those sort of differences as well. And he's also going to start helping me out in my mining online school that I have, especially inside the Start Date program. So it's called Got a Start Date Now What? And if you head to mining.teachable.com, you can see all my resources on there that will help you know more about mining before you even start. And that way you're more likely to stay and succeed because you know what you're in for. Or at least know, you know what, mining isn't for me after all. So I'm not going to quit my job and move to a mining town in the hope that it will work. We want you to know what it's really like, and he's keen to jump inside the course with me for my very special peeps, and hopefully I can see you in there as well. All right, I am going to shut up and get this party started. I hope you enjoy it. I know you will. Okay, cheers. Let's dig in. Get it? Dig mining. I cracked me up. Hello and welcome to the Beers with a Miner podcast. I am Mad Mumsy and this is a happy hour episode where I finally get to chat with TikTok sensation Mitch from Mitch On Mining. By the time this goes live, I have already shared how freaking awesome you are in the intro to my listeners. Welcome to the podcast, Mitch. It took a while, but we finally got there, right?
Yeah, here we are. That's it. 6 months later, I think. Yep. Every time we try and plan something always comes in. I mean, what does that? Just rectify the, solidify the FIFO lifestyle, doesn't it? I mean, that's it. Don't make plans.
Exactly, because it can change, and it has done for so long. I'm like, is this even meant to happen? But yeah, I'm so excited. Here we are. We are online video chatting because you're over in WA and I'm here in Queensland. So, we've got the time difference, but it's always beer o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And as this podcast is called the Beers with a Miner podcast, I like to start these happy hour episodes with my guests sharing their favourite beverage and also their best time to enjoy it. It could be beer, wine, spirit, or perhaps even a cup of tea. What is yours, Mitch?
Well, for today it's beer, and it's going to be Asahi because I love the way they come in massive cans and they're full strength. So, for every one, you might as well call it two. So that works for me. Time is fleeting, so sort of get back as much as we can. And other than that, it'll be like a whiskey or something like that. So that's a bit more of an evening drink, that one. And that's it for me. I keep it simple. Definitely. Don't drink on site, though. No.
You don't? Ever? Never?
Nah. Maybe. Sometimes. Just comes up every now and then, depends on what's going on. Try and do something with the boys, like make a changeover day, make it into something actually nice and something special, something interesting. You don't want to be a barfly, do that sort of thing and jeopardise that freshness for the next day, So yeah, that's definitely one of my mantras out there. Don't do it on site. We'll just save it for when we're at home.
And that is a good idea, especially. I love how you said your freshness for the next day. I don't think I've ever quite thought of it like that. Like you want to be.
You know what the opposite looks like.
Well, you want to be clear and you want to be safe and you want to be under the limit and all of those things and well rested, managing your fatigue, all of those things. But freshness is a fresh way of looking at it.
Definitely, and it's funny too. Sorry, because with my sites, like it's nothing like the other ones where they're having a breathalyzer in the mornings and things like that, and there's no open limits at my site. There is a 4-minute drink minimum, so you're already policed pretty well. But I tell you what, people will do that. They'll have those 4 drinks and they'll still sit out there till 9 o'clock or something, and you're like, mate, we're up at 3:45. That's just bad habit in my eyes. And then they drag their feet into the office, and it's almost like a competition about who can look the worst in the morning, and it's like, no, come on. We haven't got time for that. Don't start your day like that.
Isn't that interesting, though, that they still sit out there even after having their drinks? I think for some people it's the connection as well. Some people just need to do that. Whereas others just want to go out there, work, eat, sleep, rinse, repeat, come home, then have a life. Yeah. Lots of different people do it in different ways.
Yeah. A lot of people are doing, as humans do, it's a sheep and herd mentality. A lot of people are just doing what they think they should be doing because that's what the other guys are doing. And it's like a pressure thing. And even if they don't know they're doing it, it's very easy to fall into. And that's kind of one of the things I discuss as well. Don't do it because you think you have to. Piss away half your money on bloody overpriced drinks, and it's just a weird. I get new guys in, and they're the kind of things I chat with them about. I say you're going to have just as many friends if you go to the wet mess or not. Most of our team don't. Well, it's probably 50-50 really. So, don't feel pressured. Don't feel like you're going to get left out just because you're not part of the culture. Yeah, it's weird. It's interesting out there. Definitely has its own vibe, that.
Exactly, and different sites and even different crews within different sites. You can be on the same site for 20 years, but then you change crew and it feels like a whole new planet because they do different things. Some crews are real social and others aren't. Some I've been on, if you didn't go to the gym, you didn't count.
And
I didn't go to the gym. No way. I didn't have time for that or want to. I'd rather sleep and be fresh. That sounded like my favourite sound in the world.
Oh, hey, we're getting into it.
Cheers.
That's it. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. My listeners know that's my favourite sound in the world because I drink out of a can, and it's that sound. It's so good.
That's good stuff. I've been saving this can.
Is it a special occasion beer?
I've been saving this for us, because I know if I rip through it, we'll finally get a day that we get to catch up and I'll be like, oh, no, I'm not having a whiskey. I'm not going to have something too stiff in the morning.
But beer's all right? You can
crank
them out. That's it. Yeah.
Good. Mouthwash.
So, Mitch, how did you get started in mining? And also, what is it that you do? Let's just let our listeners know what area, vaguely, however precise you choose to feel you want to share.
So, I was managing an auto barn store for a year and a half. I set one up in my town, and I was doing that. That's my main thing. Is I got an automotive trade background in auto glazing, so all your windscreens and door glasses and stuff like that. So that's what my trade certification is. And I've always worked in automotive stores or in automotive repair centres and things like that. So I thought, that's all well and good. I've got all the tools, I've got all the gear. I'm getting older, and you try and get more. I got into management roles, which I really enjoyed. And I just thought, I got to try and get your money's worth. Really, it's what it is. You can be busting your bum at home and working your 10, 12-hour days and 7 days a week, and it's just costing you your home life, really, even though you're home every night. So that was it. I got into an earth moving company, and that was my sort of transition from civilian stuff to mining stuff, and that got me a chance to have a play around with about 40 different machines, ranging up to your sort of 30-ton gear of all excavators and diggers and everything. So that went from having essentially no experience, but I did because I'd driven a lot of machines in my life, to having a bit more on paperwork. So that was going to be my in to the mining sort of thing, instead of being green and having nothing, like so many people are trying to do. Yeah, but and that's how it worked. And then, you know how it is. You put out 1,000 resumes like everybody does, and you've got to have something on there that's of interest, and you focus on these new starter opportunities and things like that. And that's what I did, and I just picked up a role. Definitely not ideal because I live so far away. I live in the southwest WA, and so I got to transit to Perth every time I do this. So I lose a full day going to work, and I lose 3/4 of a day coming home of my own time, doing 2 and 1. So, and what I do on site is I drive it's called a blast hole assay tool. This is all going to sound really boring because it's kind of is.
No.
There's no real way to make it exciting, but I'll try. So what we do is we come in after they drill all the holes on the blast pattern. So the blast pattern is it's iron ore where I work. So it's open cut, blast benches. They go through and drill a hole every 6 meters. It's a grid pattern. It goes down about 14 meters. That's the drillers, and they'll use big autonomous drills, and they'll use little manned ones to work around the edges and the perimeters around where it's a bit more dangerous because you've got the high wall or the edge. And we chase those guys around and probe the holes with a tool, a special tool that comes down, into the ground, goes all the way to the bottom, it turns on, and it has a neutron generator inside, and it pumps out a pulse, and it's reading what the return that comes back from the data from that neutron pulse. So then it's telling the guys, it's doing a 3D map of that entire blast bench and telling them, because when they actually blast, you'd know this, they just blast and the whole thing just goes boom, 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 and it all just lands back where it came from. It doesn't fly everywhere and do this big parade.
Well,
it sort of just
theory.
goes up and then, well,
in
if
the
everything goes to plan,
yeah, exactly.
in the perfect world, you wouldn't even know what had happened. Yeah, it's so well contained,
right.
and they backfill it with the gravel and stuff like that, and they do really well. So, but this tells them, then they've now got a map where that's the waste, that's the good stuff, this is the premium, and that's the junk. So, yeah, we provide them with that data. So it used to take weeks for it to go back. That hand sample every cone, they dig a sample of 3 bucket sand shovel loads into 3 different bags, send that away from every cone, and we've come along and do it now. Now it's live. So the data goes up and comes back, and it's just constantly live. So what that equates, it's crazy stuff. Yep.
I've got my hand
go
up.
for it.
I told you I'd interrupt when I don't know shit. So the people that get it with a bucket, or that used to, and I know a lot of sites, they still do stuff like that, is that sample prep?
That is just manual sampling. Yeah, that's manual sampling.
Oh, manual
sampling.
That's
what it'll be.
Righto.
Yeah, just manual sampling, yeah. So you see them walking around with a shovel and a thread and fabric bags, and that's what they're doing. They're breaking up the cone and then putting little samples in, and then they fill the back of the ute up and off they go. So that'll tell them, because different parts of the cone are showing the different depths and the different materials. So that's how they're doing it that way. They still do it because, machines are down or we can't be everywhere at once. But, we've definitely made their jobs a lot easier, but they're paying for it.
Yeah. Well, I bet. And so when is it like a truck that has mad mumsy brain.
Yeah, boom.
I'm visualizing like a boom that comes down with a drill sort of looking effort that goes into the hole with the magic thing on the bottom that takes the reading, and then it comes back up.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Go me.
It's a big arm. Yeah, it's a big arm.
Arm. And that's the word, an arm.
And the tools are 3.7 meters long. They're about that sort of diameter, like a big coffee mug, sort of big soup mug. And they're full of electronics. They've got fans and everything in them, and they've got a wire coming off the end. So it's actually called wireline logging. This stuff's been around forever. They do it all over the world, and they do all the remote holes as well. The RC holes that you do, all the remote stuff. They do all that as well for diamonds and water and all sorts of stuff. They do heaps of things. So ours is just blast holes.
Is that like exploration drilling?
Yep. Yeah, the exploration stuff. Yeah. So sometimes I go out and do that as well, which is really nice. So when one of our tools comes in, they've got a little crystal inside that's got a lifespan, and it's the magic that makes it all work. Whatever.
Oh, crystals
Everyone's got their own magic.
Crystals are everything, right?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's how. So when they're new, we got to calibrate them. So they go through a couple of thousand kilometers of like meters of holes that we're going to calibrate that information, and that's where we do our remote stuff and our calibration holes, which is nice. That's when I get to go and sit up in the ridges, and I'm overlooking the pits and overlooking the mine and just looking out to, just a beautiful area where I work. Because when you're in the pit, sometimes that's all you're looking at. It's the bloody wall of that thing for a month on. It's just,
exactly.
And
that little bit of the sky. I remember driving down into the pit, and you'd be coming back up, and you're like, "Oh, it's going to piss down with rain soon. Woo-hoo, we'll be parking up." Or and not just that, but because you got to be careful. You got to plan. You don't want to be going up or down those ramps if it's going to open up and rain.
You start doing pirouettes.
Roundabout, it's not good.
Do.
And especially if you're the one not doing the pirouette and there's a truck doing one towards you, or
and
you're
like
in the grader or something.
Reverse.
What do you do? You can't, fucking get your shit together. But then you get to the top of the pit and it's like Simpson clouds. It's just when you're at the bottom of the pit and you look up, you just see that one little bit of grey hope, especially, if you have grey. Oh, my God. So
You're
yes,
spot on,
down
though.
in the
But
bottom of
see, we have panic mode when we get that. So we, as cool as it is and as nice as it is, like, I mean, it's amazing. People wouldn't believe it, but those patterns, those blast patterns, say you're at a bottom one and it's, say you're 8 benches down or 12 benches down. So each bench is going to be about 14 meters because that's your depth. And then it's when, if people can visualize when they look at an open cut mine, they're looking up at the walls and they can see the line that looks like a road. And then the next one is another road. They call them benches. As you know, they would have been access ramps at some stage as well. When it rains enough, the pattern that you're on, the bench you're on, will flood so bad that every single one of those 14-meter holes is flooded. And you got to imagine how much water that is. But you got to remember too, we're already below water level. So the pumps are pumping water out of the earth to keep us dry. We don't even see it. Everything's so bone dry, you wouldn't believe that you've already gone past water level. It's mind-boggling stuff, isn't it? Really.
It is. It is. Yeah. And I operated water cuts for a long time, and they're always moving the fill point around because they need to get that water and it's got to get out of the pit, especially either after rain or just because. And because we're going deeper and they got to pump that water, they have to keep moving. That body of water has to keep moving when they're down. Or if they do creek diversions and stuff, that gets pretty wild when they're doing that.
Yeah, or even just the dewatering guys, like, they're pumping water up the sides of mountain faces, and you're like, the pumps that push that water, you're like, how does all this, it's just the first, if you had to talk to me after the first 3 months even, for the first 6 months, I'd still be just mind-boggled, and I'm a very mechanically minded person, and so I know what I'm looking at most of the time. It's not like, I don't look over things and be like, oh, wow, it's a hole in the ground. I'm looking at it going, wow, man, like, look at those pumps. Look at what makes them run. Look at those machines. Look at those roads. And we're escorting each other in and out, and we're just, when you drive on a haul road, we can drive 4 abreast in our trucks, and we're on one side of the haul road. We're on the northbound, and we could be 4 abreast and still have an LV come whipping past us. People don't understand how wide a haul truck is. Like, it's just a house driving down there. I live in a 2-story house, and I reckon the haul truck would have a bigger footprint than my house. And people do not believe it until you're staring down the barrel of it. And then it all sort of sinks in a little bit,
Yeah. Or until you have to drive one, you're like, oh, fuck, what?
Yeah, I was in one of the water trucks.
I remember being in at one band camp, and the real miner was there, and he's underground, and his workmates we were all having tea together at camp, and they were saying, so how wide is your truck? How big is it? And I'm like, I don't know, big. So they're big, and these were 797s, so they're like the biggest at the time. And so they said, well, from the Bay Marie, the counter where you get your food, to where we're sitting, how far? I'm like, oh, well, I'm past that. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Anyway, that day or the next day, because I really couldn't decide. I didn't know. And I don't know me all that very well. And, so I stepped out. So I stepped it out the next day. I was on a 797, and I stepped out, Mad Mumsy steps, and I've only got little legs, but it's about 1 metre. And it was 12 and a bit. And they were big Mad Mumsy steps. And that was just the bits that I could walk on. So then there's a couple extra bits outside that. And when I don't know if I've spoken about this on the podcast, but when I went back to the mess that night, and the real miner's got his tea, he's gone to the table, and I've got my tea, and I stepped it out and went way past where I said to them I thought it was. I'm like, that can't be right. So I went back and did it again. And he's sitting there just so embarrassed, like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? I said, no. And then when I told him, they're like, you're shitting me. I said, yeah, and it would be wider than that, because that's just a bit I could walk on, because there's handrails and so they are very wide, and that's what they're like. They're like a house, and they're high up as well.
Yeah, yeah. And like you see the numbers on the side, and that's the weight scale. It's in tons, and you're just like, wow, those numbers. Those numbers don't. It's not real. Like it doesn't make any sense that that's a real thing. But it's just.
Yeah.
I know. I still enjoy it. I like it in the. It's not too bad in the pit because when they're working on the next bench, you kind of just because I go from one hole, and it takes me about 10 minutes to log a hole. So that's So I finish logging a hole, and then I finish logging the next hole. That'd be about 10 minutes. So you've got your log, you're down, you're up, you're driving. I've got stabilizer legs that fold up, and then my truck's ready to drive forward. I drive forward, stop, my legs go back down again. The tool goes to vertical, and then when everything's happy, it drops it down the hole, and then it logs it in the hole, and then it comes back. So that's about 10 minutes. We call it 10 minutes. We can do it in down to about 7 if you want to be a superstar and drive the truck into the ground. But yeah, call it 10 minutes, right? So you got to think, if I'm sitting there and I'm on a pattern that's got, and you've seen how big they are, I don't know, 5,000 holes on it. We're going to do every second row, and we might do every hole on every second row. So you're just looking down the barrel of hundreds of holes in a row, and that's it. You'll just do a row, and that might be your shift. 10 hours of that. I'm telling you, that's where starting TikTok comes from, when you're left doing things like that with your time. And you're sitting there thinking, mate, surely I could be helping someone in the world somehow, some way, with what I know right now. Instead of just sitting here staring out the window, surely there's something I could be doing for somebody. I know it's my job, but, I've got a helping mentality and a helpful nature. So just sitting there being a production worker that's just connecting the dots, putting the screw on the nut and then doing the next one 1,000 times. That's just, I was told this job was going to be rocket science. They've sold it to me as like, oh yeah, they're semi-autonomous and it's going to be so, it's going to be amazing. It'll take you a few months to get the hang of it, and 6 months and you'll be there. And once you know how it works, that's the end of it. You just got to wait for things to break, then you can fix them, and that's what you do. That's the only difference you have in your day. So I've got 7 monitors on me at all times, 7 monitors running all the gear that's in the truck, and every one of them you got to keep an eye on. They can be up to 9 monitors if you've got a few other things set up as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
Cool.
And 3 radios. Oh. You got 2 Tetras and a UHF. Yeah, everything's got to be on, and you got to hear it all. And I've got about 50 other alarms and handbrake, door open, bird's nest alarm for the winches. Too fast, too slow, too hot, too cold. It's just there's an alarm for every alarm as well. And you go alarm blind. I'm just sitting there listening to John Butler Trio or something. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a banjo. And I'm like, alarm's going off. I'm like, I think it's the music half the time.
Well, that's right, and it's like signs. And my sister, who's been on the podcast quite a bit, Hard Hat Mentor, Steel Cap sister, she always I've never forgotten for years. Part of her, she's a culture and leadership specialist coach now. There's a train. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it go fast.
Did you hear it go? Doot? Yeah, because there's a crossing as well. So that means we have to have a drink.
Ahoy.
Cheers. Oh, that was a little one that's gone. That was only a little one. That's good. And she says, sign everywhere, a sign, because they put up a sign, and once it's been there for so long, you don't even know it's a sign. You don't look at it anymore.
Sign blind.
And it can be the same with alarms.
Yep, that's what I say to the new guys and that. I say, man, signs. I said, do you know what sign blind is? And they're like, oh, yeah, no, whatever. I'm like, you'll get that with your alarms. And the funny thing is you get in a truck with someone green and they hear things differently to the way we do because we're already tuned to it all. So we'll hear an alarm and just be like, I don't care about that. You don't even hear it anymore. But they'll hear an alarm and it will just keep going. And then you're looking at them like, are you going to do something about that? Can you not hear that? Like, what's going on here? It's so weird. But other times you'll just be thinking in a different train of thought, and you'll be like, I don't care. Like it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter.
So they have to know which alarm is one to care about, and it's the same.
Which is the real one.
That's right. Even driving a truck, cat trucks especially. It's all right. Just okay it out. But there's some that don't just okay it out, won't go away, and you might just kill the truck, or it might catch fire.
Yeah,
you need to know which ones freaking count. You know, you have to know that.
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah, I've had the right one going off, and you sit, and then you smell the smoke, and you're like, oh shit, I know that. I know what that means.
Yeah, I know what that means exactly. And it can be the same with the two-way, especially when you're new and you're in with a trainer, or when you get to a point where you're the trainer, like you're saying, and you can't understand anyone because you're not used to listening to two ways. And what did they say? And the trainer will be talking away, or you're doing it yourself once you understand. You're talking away, and then all of a sudden you go, hang on a minute, that's us. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And that's what number. I say. Yeah. You've got to tune into your circuit, your digger driver, your dozer driver, your supervisor, your truck number, what the hell is, what's happening on your ramp, all of that needs to be in your radar. The rest of it can be bullshit. Stinking drillers coming down on the pattern. Yeah, come on in,
Yeah, because sometimes it gets really busy on the radios, and it gets full chat. Like the drill and blast guys, I mean, they just chat away the whole time because we're on the same channel as them. It depends on who owns the pattern, because whatever time of frame that the pattern's in, if it's drill still on there, it's drill and blast, but then it's going to be us, geoscience, and then it's going to go to blast, and then that's going to be it. So, but they can be still drilling it while we're on there, and then the drillers can finish, and then the loading can happen while we're on there too. If we start logging from one end where the driller started, then blast will come in and start loading. So, and then you got autonomous zones which have got their own radios, and then you're trying to organise stuff because we need escorts and things, and people are just on there talking just shit. Sometimes you're just like, man, we've got 3 radios and you still can't hear what the hell's going on. But you're right. So once you're out, I see in all your big trucks, they write the asset number on the windscreen, or on the windscreen and on the visor and on the dashboard and everywhere. So you're in, WA 612, whatever that is. You are in that one. Don't forget which truck you're in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it's got the number on the outside.
Yeah, it's on the outside. Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. So... yeah, you're separate to drill and blast and the shot firers and all that. You're your own little, what did you call yourself? Geoscience department.
So geoscience are the guys that do they come and do the QA QCs on the holes and everything. They come and check the data after it's been drilled. The other drills, the guys that do the remote stuff and all that, they are with us as well. Those drill teams, where they have those mobile drills, the big drill trucks that they go and set up and they drill the holes. Those guys are part of geoscience.
And they'll just do, so they just do like, I haven't seen them as much in coal up here as I have in gold, where there'd be like these little cool drills and they'd go and pop a big oversize that fell off the high wall and it's on the ramp or something that they couldn't load into a truck, or just one of the walls has fallen in, and so they're going to go and do a bit of an area around there. It hasn't been blasted, they'll blast it. So they can go up on an angle and everything into the walls. Those, what did you call them?
The pit vipers are the ones that are the autonomous. They run on the blast pad only. So they're the ones that are autonomous. They run from Perth. The little D65s are the manned ones, and they work on contour, so around the edges of the pattern where it might be slopey and stuff, and they work around that, and they are the manned ones. And then there's other drills that go out and do your diamond drilling and stuff like that. They are a truck with a big boom that will come up on the back, and that's like a portable drill rig. And then there's other rock commanders, which are they look like an excavator, like a like a 30-ton excavator, but instead of having a bucket on the end, they've got a full drill rig head on the end, so they can drill at any angle they want. So they're pretty cool as well. And
I think that's what I'm thinking.
But yeah, they all go all over the place. And I mean, if you ever look up the side of a hill face and it looks like an ant colony, the little tracks and the little pads that are everywhere all over the side, kind of looks like a little ant thing, like tracks and that. That's what they've done. They go up and they do a little pad, and then they go and drill there, and then they move up a little bit further and drill, and it's just all exploration. And that stuff's really cool to get into.
Yeah,
but
scary though.
I go up there, log a hole. Yeah, it's steep stuff. Like some of those guys, they've got to make sure there's enough diesel in their tank when they're driving up and down those things, because otherwise, if the diesel gets starved for the pickup in the tank, they'll die on the hill, and the truck will be stuck there. They're massive eight-wheel drive Tetras and Tatras or Tartars or something like that. These big military-looking trucks. They use them, and they're
cool.
Yeah, it's just crazy stuff. It's just crazy stuff.
So the service car wouldn't be able to get up there to fuel them up if they ran out, would they?
They do though, yeah, they do, but they just got to make sure you just got to be prepared before you make the climb, because if it goes to shit halfway up, you're kind of, some steep terrain. Yeah, even for me and my little truck. So mine's a
what I was going to ask you about your truck.
Yeah, so it's like a canter, like a Mitsubishi canter. You imagine one of those little kind of sort of delivery trucks, but just with this huge boom and everything on the back. Yeah, and they pack up pretty tight, but. They've been converted to automatics, so that way the computer can shut down the drivetrain, so they don't drop. You can't drive it while the tool's in the ground. So they used to be manuals, now they're automatics. That's
a good idea.
I mean, there's 20 different systems in them that they're all confusing each other at all times. So you've got to be the guy in the middle. It's like the Men in Black movie where there's the little man inside the guy, and he's just pulling the levers and all the little alien, and he's doing all of that. It's kind of what I do. I'm the little alien inside the truck pulling all the levers and pushing all the buttons.
Oh my God.
On the outside, it looks like it does it all by itself. Oh. You got some little weirdo hobbit guy in there just pushing all the buttons. That's me.
Oh, well, that's you. Oh, yeah, oh, that's gold.
Yeah, and we're all over 6 foot, so we just...
Yeah, you're big weirdo hobbits, not little ones.
Yeah, big. We're like a rugby team, eh? So we're 3 teams of 3 in my team. We're the biggest guys there, and when we walk through the office, like, we look like we're coming for you. Like, it's so, and I'm the smallest guy out of the 2 guys I work with, and it's so funny because some of the guys are just like, man, when we see you coming, we don't know what's going to happen. we're just having a laugh. Like, we don't care, man. We just struggle to fit in our trucks. You know, they're not really designed for us.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Yeah. So when you said about how they had to change from manual to automatic so they couldn't drive off, is that clearly because some people were driving off with the thing in the ground? And that would be expensive.
Yeah, so there's 2 stabiliser legs that come down, and they just deploy and push down at the back of the truck, so the wheels don't really have drive anymore. So they go down and they self-level, and then the whole thing's level, and then they activate the tool on the ground. But accidents do happen, as we all know. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. If someone can do it, someone will do it. So I'll let your imagination take that one as far as you want to.
I'm sure around the world it's happened.
Well, we're the only ones that have got these things. We've only got about 25 of them maybe. It's our own tech. We are moving worldwide with it. But, it doesn't take much. You only need 5 people running the thing. All 5 of them are going to do something different. I'll tell you, it's hilarious. I've seen some pretty wild stuff, but yeah, that's one to put in the history books. Not, I've seen some funny stuff.
It's like in the dump trucks, well, all machines on site, if you go to fuel up and trucks drive off still with the hose attached, and that gets messy.
Especially the big ones, because they're that big lock coupler. Oh, yeah, disaster. Yeah.
And the amount of times you're trying to get the Wiggins fitting onto the refill point in a truck, and half of them are all bent, and because they've been damaged that many times and you can't do it.
Yeah. Left on the ground, they get ran over.
Yeah, no, I mean the bit on the truck. The bit on the truck gets damaged, as well as the Wiggins in the
You're just like, how? I mean, it'd be harder to wreck it than it would just to not. You know, who does this stuff? Eh? It's the fairies, and the funny thing is,
it's the rocks. It's a big rock, did it?
yeah. But what are they doing that close to it all the time? Eh? It's like things happen. It's the weirdest place working out there, and this is, I don't want to give the wrong impression here, but accountability is such a strange thing. It's like there's massive accountability for certain things, but zero for others. You know, I've never worked anywhere where you can have a bingle and they're more worried about you emotionally than they are about how you got there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, it's really strange, eh? Like, I've had a couple of incidences on site. And the main thing has been like, oh, you all right? Do you need to go and have a rest? This is just from, you reverse over a stop sign or something stupid. Nothing. You just nothing. It just, you bingle a sign, you bingle the truck. It's just a bit of a scratch. It's a touch up. No big deal. And I'm just like, nah, that's cool, man. Let's just get it fixed and move on. We'll go through the process of what we need to. It's obviously an incident on site. And they're so worried about your emotions and how you feel and if you're going to be okay. And I'm just like, man, I don't mean to sound rude, but I don't care about this. I'm happy to just move forward. Let's do what we have to do. I care that something got damaged, but I'm not gonna get upset about it or anything that I did it. But they're dealing with people of such a vast emotional statuses and life skills and worldly understanding. You got people out there that don't know how to butter bread. And it's a weird place. It's a weird place for me. I come from a tradie background where, people beating each other up and lighting each other on fire and flicking razor blades at each other and all the crazy stuff that was, like, we all thought it was fun, and I had to go into a retail sector where it was working with younger guys and people that had like feelings and emotions and you couldn't do things like that anymore and it all changed. And then I get out on site and it's just like, wow, I'm so glad I was already conditioned to the mental health considerations of an employee by the time I got out there, because you get these hard case guys out there that are still living in that world from, you shovel shit from morning to night. You got a problem with it, too bad. They'll whip you with the shovel, it's too bad, so sad. If you can't do it, you're a sissy and all this other crap, And they're still out there now. That blows my mind that those people are still around. And I'm kind of like that in the core where it's like, let's just work, man. We got to get this done. But you need to learn on site to stop, step back, do the procedure as it's required. There is no rush. There is no panic. There is no shit. We got to get it done right now. Well, I haven't experienced that. That's just my take on it. And that's weird too. I love it. I feel very safe on site. I really, really appreciate the way things are done out there. Other people would say different things. If you knew where I worked, you'd know all about it. But no, I feel safe. Yeah, I like it. I appreciate it.
And it's a fine balance, isn't it? And there's just so many grey areas across all levels of mining when it comes to even training and procedures and all the things on most sites. Alarms, signs, it's like, there's this, but that one's all right. And then now how it's moved, like you said, that I guess it's I see it as a good thing that they now start to care about people's mental health and their emotions, which I'm sure you're not saying that you don't at all, but it's interesting that that's what they're going to first instead of now what went wrong, what can we do to prevent this from happening again, so people don't reverse over a stop sign. How did it end up that this even happened? To how are you doing? Are you all right? Are you okay? do you want to have a cup of, no one ever, once a supervisor said to me, are you all right, Leanne? I'm like, not really. And he said, go up to the cribber, have a cup of tea. I'll be up there in a minute. Right, copy that. Like I'd been hammered by big rocks all night and then just got absolutely hammered by one. Had to take it up the dump. And when I was tipping it out, it lifted my truck up and rocked me around, and it was night shift, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the dozer driver saw it, and he's like, on the two-way, fuck, you right in there? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And
he's watching all the lights flashing all over the place, eh?
Oh God, yeah, and alarms going off, yeah. And when it's come back down, it smashed back down, and then the tray followed down, and that's when I kind of got to the point, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting a bit over this. I'm getting too old. Yeah, no, that was too much. But he cared, which was nice.
Yeah, it's handy, It's like it's weird. It is. I don't know. It's different. It's weird. Other things. There's other things I found weird out there, but it's going to be personal to you to going out there, and it's like where I live, there's not a lot of multiculture. And as weird as it sounds, I don't care about anything. I got no drama with anyone, and no one's different in my eyes. But when you don't see much multiculture, you go out to a mine site, and I tell you, if you were someone who had a biased opinion about people and things like that, you'd be inundated with it. Those people that have those mindsets ingrained about people from where they come from or what they do or how they look or how they talk or whatever. If you got any of that going on, you got a chip on your shoulder with any of that, mining ain't for you, man. Like, that's it. You go out there now, and even on my crew,
it won't last
so many
anymore.
No chance in the world, eh? Like, you could be in my town here. I've got, people who run certain restaurants or whatever. That's it. You got that culture running that sort of thing, that culture doing that sort of thing, and that's it. Not nowhere in the street, in the areas or anything like Perth. We've got certain areas where everyone lives there and everyone lives there and all that sort of stuff. That's just sort of segregation. There's just nothing like that here. And when I went away, even just at the airport, my first time, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, there is people from every part of the world, and we're all heading to the same place. And then I got there and I was just like, wow, man, this is crazy. And then I met my team and I was like, far out. And it's funny how certain people do certain things. You find there's they are drawn to those kind of roles, and it's really weird, eh? But if you didn't like it, you'd struggle with that because it's very, very in your face and very pronounced, and it's strange. There's a few strange things going on out there. I tell you what, if you're someone that's got strong opinions about things, then it's definitely not the place to go, because you're gonna, I don't know, you're just gonna eat yourself alive, I suppose.
And if you don't get shut down by your crew and the people around you, which sadly sometimes doesn't happen when it should, they let someone be like that on crew, then it can go, there's so many levels that it can go to now, especially where they care about discrimination and they listen, and there's steps and there's this and there's that and there's consequences, and people get fired or moved. A lot of times they'll just move people to a different crew, which isn't changing anything. It's just moving the problem around. And then I've seen this quite a few times. Then they end up getting turfed and they just go to another mine and take their bloody
the same thing happens again.
Shit attitude with them. Yeah. And I love that you're saying that. If you're like that, don't go to mining.
Don't do it, man. No, because you've got to live with these people now.
Exactly. And you've got to look after each other, and you become family. I always say you don't have to get on with you don't necessarily want to.
You have to be best mates with everybody. You just got to have
or love them all. And because I'm such a nice, friendly, happy, open soul, and I just want to be friends with everybody. But once I learned that, no, it's all right. It's like family. You've got the weird uncle and the off-tap cousin and
the ones you're happy not seeing only once a year.
The stepdad and the old bloody cranky granddad. And But you do, and because you have to. If you want to
Yeah,
stay there,
yeah, but
you
you don't,
have to.
and you're not scurvy. Yeah, and you can't like because I'm in a team, so we're 3 teams of 3. So the 2 guys that I'm teamed up with, we're solid as. But even we admit we're like, man, we're not going to hang out on R&R. We got other shit to do. Like we live together as is. We don't need to do that. So one of the blokes I have breakfast and dinner with every day. That's just our routine. And the other guy, he goes back to his room. He does. We don't. We all catch up on site, but we're pretty busy with what we're doing in the trucks. Once we're out there, we're in our own truck, and we're not there fluffing around. We're not chatting and hanging out and stuff. And then we come in and do we do our handovers in the morning, and then in the afternoon. If you get caught up in your catch up with the next crew and all that, having a laugh and that, you stuff your handover up because you've got paperwork to send off and files to upload and all this sort of hoo-ha. The 12-step bloody program instead of it. They like to make things convoluted. It's just it's a pain in the ass. You're just like click enter and then click OK. I want that to be how it works, right? Let's just click the button and fucking stun, not copy, join, cable, friggin' different programs, send, receive, refresh. Dude, multi-million-dollar operation here. We're piss farting around with all this shit. I'll tell you. That's just me having a little cry because I'm like, mate, let's get in there, let's get it done, let's get out. But it's fun now. The teams are good, and my crew's cool, and we do a little, you do a little beef between each other, like me, I got my crew, right, my guys, they've got their crew, but I worked with everybody when I started. I went through the rounds with everybody, and wherever I'd ended up, I would have been, the same friendships as I have now with these guys. But we've got our team. There's the other guys have all got there, and they've all got their little cliques and their ways of doing things. But as a whole, you don't mess with us because we'll still look after each other as a business team. And then our department is the next thing. Like, don't mess with our department because then that includes the drillers, that includes these guys. And if you see a driller that's having a bad day, man, and you're in the mess, you're like, dude, get over here. It's really funny when we're in pre-starts and that, everyone's there kind of got their grumpy face on, it's like it's early, so no one's allowed to be happy and buzzy and all this shit. And it's all business, it's all tough guy shit, we're going to go out and save the day and be the, we're going to run that mine. But when you're out on site and you see people, everyone's waving, hey, and everyone's mates, and everyone's out the window honking the horn, giving each other shit on the radio, And at the end of the day, when everyone's burnt out and stuffed and they're all just covered in shit and everyone's had enough, then it's just like, yeah, man, good day. We made it. Another day, tick it off the list. And then you go back to your room and then the morning starts again. And then there's that funny little grumpy silence again in the morning. And you're like, dude, we all get along so well out on site when we're passing each other. We could be a group of 100 comrades, like it's, I don't know, it's strange. Everyone's sort of, they segregate themselves, but as a team, we're a whole, and then as a department, we're a whole. At the end of the day, as a mine, we're a whole as well. It's us, it's still us versus everyone else. And if your mine is split, then you've got that weird shit going on. But I work in 2 mines. I work on 2 ends of a mine, 2 actually separate mines, but same place. And they bicker between each other, and you're like, what the man? The shit's all going to the same bloody port. It's all going to the same country, man. We're all doing the same shit.
And there's so many levels of that, isn't there? There's like you say, the stuff that's good banter, and then there's the serious. No, but we really don't like that crew because when we change over with them on our last day, their OC does the drive around and he just picks us. Like, all we want to do is go home, and he'll call up each truck and, do you know what your hazards are in this area? It's like, fuck off, we just want to go home, man. He's just had his week off and he's all fresh, and so we don't like that.
He's full of bloody nah.
Yeah, and then there's always have you seen the song? It's on YouTube, I think there's a thing, and it's the other fucking crew. It's hilarious. Yeah. There's a few different versions of it. And so we always say that about, the crew that you swap out with. So, they set us up again. Bloody A crew set us up again, and we've got all the lighting plants are in the wrong spot. and they started a drop cart and just didn't get everything finished and then just went home, and we're on night shift and we've got to go and do the shit bit that they should have done on day shift. But we don't know what happened during the day. You know, decisions that were made that are out of their control.
Yeah, they were down the other end of the mine. They had a flat tire. It was just shit. And no one. We kind of get it, like, because there's definitely a cross shift that you want to cross shift with, and then there's cross shift that you're like, oh fuck, the truck's gonna stink, and there's gonna be shit laying around, and you're like, man,
yes,
I don't want to deal with this crap. Because I'm a bit of a hard case, you know. I've worked with a lot of people, and I've had a lot of people work. I've had to manage a lot of people. I've had to work with very, very difficult people before, very difficult people, and difficult in a comprehension sense and a behavioural sense. And because I worked with a disability support agency working with guys, and at the end of the day, it was my methods work, because I got guys that weren't leaving their house, and then for 2 years, and then I had, you know, their whole goal was to make a sandwich, and in the end I had them working and riding around in town and going out and doing their own thing. So the system works. But in line with that, it's a bit of a hard case mentality, and it's a bit of a discipline thing where it's like, mate, we've got a job to do here. Let's kick some ass, you know, let's do it. If they don't have the confidence to do it on their own, I will share my enthusiasm and I'll make myself bigger to be able to share a piece of me that they can use it, and give them strength and courage to do the right thing. That's what I struggle with this in mining, when I was saying about the behavioural things before, and the you know, like if something happened to the truck and you were operating the truck, who's responsible for that? You are not. Someone was driving the truck and something happened to the truck. Oh no, I don't know what happened. That's not the answer. I'll fucking tell you. It drives me up the wall, eh? Like, you just look at something and you're like, dude, how did that happen? But you do know how it happened, and you know who was in the truck. But there's such this weird culture thing where it's just like, oh, nah, I don't know. No one knows how that happened. And that's really funny for me to wrap. It took me a long time to wrap my head around that. A very long time.
That's those fairies you were talking about earlier.
The fit, mate. Yeah, you know them. And you're just like, well, that's kind of weird. They're bloody.
Yeah.
But then you know what? Sometimes something might happen that you might forget to because days are long. And you know that. Days are long out there. People don't get that. In our days out there, it's 2 days. It's minimum, because you pre-start, and before you even set off, there's already a couple of hours worth of stuff. The world still hasn't even woken up yet, and you've done so much. And your morning, you could be in one place in the morning, another place in the afternoon, and the people you interact with, the sites you're at, the different rules, the different tasks you're doing. The days are long. At the end of the day, sometimes you have a handover and you're like, nah, it's all good. And you're like, oh, shit, no, hang on, that's broken. This snap, doesn't work anymore. You know, you're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, oh, gosh, flat tire. Like, shit.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to hold on to all those things too, eh? And, you know, if there's something that's not working in the truck and you just sit there and cry about it all the time, you just do your head in. But sometimes, you know, sometimes you're just like, fuck, I don't want to think about this shit anymore, man. I just want to bloody potter along and do my job. And yeah, it's so funny at the end of the day when you're reflecting on it all, you're like, oh yeah, the wheel fell off. Forgot about that. And we spent half the day trying to get it bloody sorted out.
Exactly.
You're like, how did that happen? It's ludicrous.
Yeah. And then, oh yeah, that's right. We forgot about there was that emergency and the
we got stood down. A lot
of other stuff happens outside of our sphere of control that, you know, we ain't got nothing to do. Oh, the weather or the this or the that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Lightning warnings. Yeah. So because we've got that tool that goes in the ground, once lightning is approaching, we pack up. So because it takes our tool about 10, 15 minutes to pack the whole truck away ready to drive. So we cannot escape if something's happening now. If it's happening now, it's too late. We abort. So we bail, jump in with blast or whoever's around, and we just get taken away, and we leave the truck there just to let nature take its course.
Yeah. So do they have someone who is responsible for tracking a storm to see how far away the lightning is and all of that? And because we have all of that, as well as sensors on the high walls and if walls are moving and shit. Alarms for that.
Yeah, you've got all your cameras.
Is anyone watching that alarm? That wall's moving. No one's telling us we have to move.
Yeah, you see this little thing in the corner of your eye, and you look over and you're like, there's just debris, a little fluff of dust, and you're like, hang on, how much of that just moved? Like, but they know what they're doing. They're pretty good with that. So yeah, we got Weather Guard, which is an app. I mean, that's a public thing. I suppose anyone can have it, and it tracks lightning because you know what it's like in those environments. It's that dry lightning. You know, it's worse when there is no winter. I mean, the seasons are so funny out there, and that dry lightning is just there's so much charge in the air that it's. I mean, the best lightning storms you'll ever see in the Pilbara.
Well, even out here in the Bowen Basin for the coal, where I've worked at some band camps, just being out on a mine site and you don't have the interference of buildings and most of the time trees or whatever, but when it comes to the sky, that is the best part. The sunrises, the sunsets, the storms, the moon, the stars.
Yeah.
You know, oh God, it really takes your breath away. You know, I remember being up on I was dumping up, we were on a high dump, the highest one in our pit at the time, a new one, and there was this amazing sunset over the whole pit. It was crazy, and I called the dozer driver up, and it was end of shift or towards the end, getting closer, you know, and I said, copy dozer 10? And he looked at me, knew it was me, and he goes, yeah, what do you want? I'll never forget. I said, have you seen the sky? And he goes, what? What are you talking about? I said, look at that. And he went, oh, my God. Yeah, it's pretty good, though. and he's looking at me doing these with his hands. He's like, you're an idiot. But, you know, you got to find those light moments out there because everyone, like you said before, everyone gets so freaking serious. I try to find some lightness, find some happiness, find some boots that you can just, you know, we're all got to be here. Let's at least try and enjoy it a little bit while we're there, you know. Like I remember a guy, Rusty, g'day Rusty, I know he listens. He sit next to me on the bus and we're having a chat, especially that first day back after you've been on break. You call it R&R, we more than often call it break. And so we're driving back in, and the closer we got to the pit, the more his body language. He'd slump in the chair in the bus and he'd go, oh, really? He'd actually say, I really don't want to be here. And, you know, how do I, you know, I'm here, mate. Don't drag me down as well. You know, I'm like, come on, Rusty, you'll be right. Once you get in your dozer, you'll be all right. I used to say, you go, oh, no, and then carry on. But God,
yeah, it's funny, you know. If you get I don't know, it's a mind game, isn't it? It's like anything. But once you're there, I mean, like I like coming in the day before, and I take the early flight to get there so I can set my room up and get all my gear sorted and sit back and relax. My other crew come on the later flight because they're in Perth, so they're only 5 minutes away from the airport. But they come in a bit later. They don't have the time. I mean, I come in and I got washing to do, like, because I'd usually have probably my washing from my second week will be ready to go. And, you know, it might not sound that glamorous, but you don't have time to do anything. So on fly out day, you try and get out a little bit early, you go and wash the trucks up for the handover and everything, and then you bugger off at 8:20 in the morning. We fly from site to come home, and then, I get back to my place pretty late in the day, about 3 o'clock in the day then. But, yeah, the mindset, I think it's fine. When I get there, I'm like, man, you just got to go into that. You're at work now. Get your little camp, get your room set up, you get all your bits and pieces out, man. It's fun, eh? You can make your room, get your gadgets organised, get your routine ready. You know, how you're going to. Now you're going to ring and chat with rellies and, you know, your family and stuff during the week and what's going to happen next. I mean, it's never really – the interesting thing is because you've got service guys and stuff that do their bit, you know, and if you drive the truck, there's going to be a technician that works on it. You're you don't have the responsibility of sort of busting your ass all day long in most of the roles, because liability comes down to people who are actually ticketed to do what they're supposed to do. It's not so much it all falls on your hands no matter what happens. So you don't have this continuous pressure that you have to just keep the machine going. Like, I don't have that perception of pressure at all. And I think a lot of the machine operators wouldn't, they kind of ring the bell and go, no, I'm out. Like, the truck's stuffed and someone's got to come and fix it now. So I don't know. It's strange. Some people start their day, but they're the ones that are staying up late. They're the ones that are drinking piss. They're the ones that rely on coffee to keep them alive and all this, and energy drinks and all this junk, They've put their bodies out of balance and their minds go with it. So those people will struggle. But I could not imagine being somewhere like that and just being like, I don't want to be here. Like, that is just so far away from reality to have that mindset. The damage that it'd be doing to you mentally and then physically, sometimes would be irreversible,
That's right. And sadly, it's very common.
Yeah.
And I've had that, and my listeners who listen to the podcast know that. Various reasons over the years, I've been exactly like that. And the thing is that a lot of people get to a point where they can't leave because of the golden handcuffs. Do you want to speak to that? I've spoken about it a lot, but let's hear what you say.
Yeah, definitely. My situation is pretty good. So, and I'm starting to share a little bit more about that with my TikTok audience, I do TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube and Instagram. I'm trying to sort of cover it all, so the opportunities there for people. It definitely is providing a service for people. So the more I can share it with, the better for them in the end. But I'm sharing with them a little bit more now the reality of what I do, because I did do a video about when I'm on break saying I don't really do much. I just sort of hang out and that sort of thing. I touched on it a little bit earlier as well.
I've got to interrupt. They're the ones where you were topless in the pool. This is where I just hang out.
Yeah, I just hang out in the pool. Yeah, so there was that one.
Yeah,
that was my first one.
Go, Mitch! He's really coming out. He's coming out.
Coming out. Well, that's it. It didn't get me any extra followers, I'll tell you that much. I might have lost a couple. But that was trying to help people where it's like, you don't have to be there for everybody. You don't freak out about going and seeing Jim, Joe, Jeff, Fred, friggin', everybody, because that's going to do you in. You're going to be working harder when you're at home than you are on bloody mine site, and that's, I got it. One of my guys gets a bit of that, he finds it very hard. I don't, I get a little bit recluse, I think, I don't, probably for the first 6 months. It was funny too, because when I started, I digressed a little bit. When I started, I had to shave my beard. So I had this beard for 10 years. I'd only shaved it once in 10 years. It was 8 years ago. But they said I had to shave it because I had to do the fit test. So you got to make sure a mask is going to fit on your face. And then they said to me, that got snuck up on me at the end of the interview, and they said, you'll only have to do it once. For a fit test, that's it. We'll send you to a site where that's not required. I said, yeah, okay. I said, other than that, the beard's coming back. And then you get to site and then, let it start growing back, and then people start going, oh, you're not allowed to have a beard here. And I'm like, well, mate, I tell you, I was told differently. So that's another thing for the listeners to, it's a whole nother story there about being told one thing and reality is another. They need boots filled. They need people on the ground. Yeah.
That's right. And I'll just bring it in the beard thing. That's happened to the real miner and quite a few people that I know here, because underground, some sites you can't work underground if you've got a beard or a mow because of I think it's the self-rescuer has to fit. And they've done heaps of studies, and the union have, fought against it. And so some sites let you have a beard, some don't. Some let you have a mow. And then they have their 14-day growth, and then just shave to go back to work. But the real miner has told me about, he's been at inductions and they said they've told people you can't have a beard and they just get up and walk out. They're like, well, I'm not working here then, and go. They're like, nah, nothing's worth my beard, man. So it's something that I don't think I've brought up on the podcast, but it's real.
Yeah. And, it's funny because it's like, it's some interesting ways you can look at it and different ways you can put it. And it all depends on whatever you want to believe. But, it makes me who I am. It's a part of the whole package. I mean, I don't know. It's not like you could say to a woman, "I'll shave your head," or a bloke, "Shave your head," or some other crap. It's a hard one. But at the end of the day, I fought it, and the parent company, I spoke with the hygiene officers and everything, and then if I was willing to pay for a positive air pressure respirator, a PAPA, that's a full head helmet that has filters and fans, and it blows fresh air in on your face. I did all that research and then found the product, and then they approved it for use on site. So I have my own one. I paid for that.
How much was that? I know the listeners are wondering.
That one I got was a Pure Light Extreme, it's called. They are from a company in Australia. I think it's ATB products or something funny like that, but it's called the Pure Light Extreme, and they are about $800 something. So that is the alternative to that's the alternative to the 3M, the Pure Flow. Not the Pure. What's the 3M one? They have a AdFlow. It's the alternative to the Ad, because the 3M one's about $2,300, and it has a pack on the side of you and a hose to them and all this sort of gibberish. The drillers have been issued that now from their company. One of the mobs I work with there, they've been issued them so they can have their beards grow. Because at the end of the day, right, if you want to argue this point, this means everybody on that site has to razor shave that morning, if that's going to be the policy. Everybody. And you think they're going to check everybody's face razor shaved every single morning? The supervisor that's going in the pit, the service vehicles, everybody. I mean, there could be women that have got more hair on their face, they need to razor shave their face as well. True. Because what they do is they'll show you a zoomed in grain of hair to a seal. Have a little pluck. But they'll show you the zoom in and show you why the texture is so important to the seal. So it has to be, after an hour, some blokes have already blown it after shaving because it's just so coarse it's coming out, and it's not going to seal perfectly.
Right, yeah.
So really, it's a strange argument, isn't it? You can get technical, and really I'm just a stubborn bastard that at the end of the day, the missus said to you, if the beard goes, then good luck when you get home. I said, yeah, well, I want it back too.
Well, I will say to the missus, you went through it though, didn't you? Because it happened. You did lose it once.
I did it.
But with the real miner, when he did and went to work and came back, I'd forgotten that he – and I was like, this is kind of like a new fella,
Yeah.
And it was a bit fresh after a few. I'm like, all right then. But then it was like, and because he had no mow either. And, that was weird. But, yeah, he's got a mow back, I think, now, so it's all good. But it's important for blokes to know, and women, I guess. If your bloke has got a beard, you love that beard, little goatee even, and you're like, get a job in the mines, pay off the house, bro, let's go. Yeah. What do you mean you're going to shave off your beard?
Yeah, and if you're like, man, that's ludicrous, and so what the roundabout part of that story is, so I went and did that the day I had to do the fit test, and when I got home, because I'm pretty well known in my town, and I worked in a pretty, I was sometimes talking to 100 different people a day in one of the roles I had in town here. I would go out and no one would know me, which was kind of handy because then we would get in and out. We'd go and do our shopping and things like that. And I didn't call it because, I tell you, I go to buy butter or milk, and I'm there for 4 hours, so it's just every aisle you go down to somebody else. We joke, we always go, oh, how many people today? And we'll be like, I reckon we'll get stopped by 4, but we'll probably see about 6 that we know, and you have a little wave. And that's, your Bunnings and your Woolies and that sort of stuff. It's funny. And but yeah, we're very much part of our town.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to the local, it's guaranteed. But so yeah, people didn't really know who I was. So I went through this weird sort of phase where I wasn't going out much, and then when you come back from site, because everything is so well managed there and so well run, and like people aren't stupid on the road, the vehicles are all in reasonably good nick. People aren't cutting each other off. They're all banged up. There's not signs aren't all smashed. There's not burnouts and shit all over the roads. You come back to town and you get this funny anxiety about driving again with people. And because I'm landing in Perth, my hometown is not crazy compared to Perth, but site is very, very well managed and well run. And you've got asset number all over you, so you can't do anything stupid because you're going to get pinged by somebody. But the old code, oh, I didn't get the asset number. When you see someone come off the side of the road or lose half their shit, I didn't see the asset number. It'll happen so fast.
See, I've never heard it. I've never heard it called an asset number.
Yeah,
we have a number on there. I don't know what sort of number it is, but what was the number? The light vehicle number or the truck number but asset number is new to me. That might be more Western Australian, maybe.
Yeah, and because even all the water tanks on site have an asset number because they've got so much water. The fuel tanks, everything. It's bonkers, eh? And even to show how extreme things are out there, they have dive crews come out from Perth to inspect water tanks. They're that big. Dive. You're out on a mine site and there's guys walking around scuba gear, and you're like, what is this? This just doesn't make any sense. Big truck with, Perth Diving Academy on the side, and you're like, dude, what the hell is that truck doing here, eh? And then you're like, oh, they're going to check the tanks, and you're like, wow, and to see million litres of fuel sitting there in 4 200,000 litre tanks. 1 million litres of fuel, and you're like, that's just one of a dozen depots here, and you're just like, this is just ludicrous the way things work, But yeah, so
everything's big.
It's just big and crazy. Yeah, it's big and crazy. But again, it's safe and it's comfortable. Yeah. And so I'd come home and I'd feel weird, so I wouldn't really get out of the house much. I'd find it a little bit daunting. So my car kind of sat there and went to shit a little bit. So the spiders took over with that. And then that's why I tried to share that sort of video to go, I don't really do much, but I do have the boys over because I got my Barbie area, and I'll have them over one out of maybe 3 R&Rs or something. I tried to make it more, but then the time comes you just can't be bothered with it. So I'm not that social to begin with. But yeah, so the R&R thing is...
Right. So hold that. I need to talk to you about your barbecues because I watched that. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a smoker. Oh, he's got that. Oh, and he's got that thing up there and on top of the... it was like all these different varieties of barbecues and Webbers and smokers, and I can't remember what else. I was, I don't mind a barbie myself, but I was blown away. I watched that one twice, so there's 2 watches on.
I'll take all the views I can get. But that's it. So that's where that's why I'm doing those ones now, because it's like the point was FIFO hasn't bought me any of this stuff. Nothing you'll see when I do those upcoming videos of my comfort areas and things like that has come from anything to do with the money I've earned working away. So that's my barbecue area. That's been my setup for 6 years. I got rid of some, so I had a few more Webbers there. That's just how I cook. So even last night I did a pork belly on the rotisserie on the charcoal. So, and I like to do that because it gives me something to do when I'm home. It keeps me busy. I'm provide for the family. And they're cooking it's me. It's a bit of heart and soul cooking food like that. You can't stuff around, otherwise you'll burn it. You'll stuff it up. So I like that. Sorry, I'm losing my bloody breath. Time for another beer.
You're right. And have a drink. Have a drink. Have a drink.
Yeah, here it comes, fresh out of the fridge.
Right. Well,
So,
you're
yeah,
fresh
that's why I
out of
wanna-
the fridge. Hang on. I've just got to go and get one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Hang on. Now for a word from our sponsor, Julia Hartman and the Bantax Accounting Group. If you head to bantax.com.au/miners, that's BANTACS, you can download a free booklet all just for us miners. And there's also a spreadsheet in there that helps you check off what tools you have for your trade, like your isolation lock, work boots, 7 shirts, all of these sorts of things. And you can weigh them up and it'll tell you if you qualify weight-wise to claim your trips out to work. I strongly urge you to head to bantax.com.au/miners and tell them Mad Mumsy sent you. Okay, it's my turn to crack a can now. Ready, listeners?
Yeah, let it rip. That's the one.
And now, because I've got off red wine, but when I'm home, I drink beer in a wine glass. Because
Keep
it's
it
just
fancy.
weird, and now I keep it fancy, and you get like 2 beers out of
Yeah,
1 can.
turns into 2.
Not 4 like your big one. No,
I
it's
love
good.
it, Yeah,
So,
I love that can.
speaking of family, how do you go working away? And have you got kids? You know, how's all that work for you?
Yeah, so, engaged for 18 years. Oh, no, together for 18 years, engaged for 16, and, just tied the knot on the 16th of December. And in the meantime, we've had our 2 kids. So we've got a 15-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter. So that's been our story. So the thing is as well, there would have been opportunities to go and work away while they were younger. I believe the first 4 years are the toughest with any child, first child, second child, whatever. Because in those first 4 years, none of you know what you're doing. No one has got a clue what's going on. I mean, you're doing everything wrong. So you got to try and make all the mistakes
Especially
you
the
can to
first
come
one.
out of that. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But then, like, once
Scary,
you
isn't
get
it?
to that
You're like,
4 years, oh, yeah. I reckon by then, if everything's fallen into place and you've done right, that their intelligence comes out, their personality comes out. They're more of they're a little human, they're a little adult, really. So when things start to change a bit, you're getting back into work. You're okay to work. They can communicate with other people so that you have in daycare and things like that. But before that, I think it's almost relationship suicide if you think you can go away and leave a partner to deal with that sort of thing. I'm pretty good about switching off to things. I'm a bit of an old school sort of bloke like that, worker, where if I have to go away to do something and it's my job, I just do it. I don't have an opinion or an emotion connected to it, really. But obviously it's a lot harder for other people. So it works for me. It works for us. When we're there for each other when we need it, but we don't hang off each other anyway. We're not that kind of family. We don't really do things that way. With the kids, I mean. So it's quite good. We kind of hang out in passing with each other. It's kind of strange. We're very independent as individuals, but we're very strong as a unit as well. It's really kind of interesting. But I mean, it's funny. My kids, like, we don't even chat much at all while I'm away. Like, I'll just get my son. He'll be like, "Oh, Dad, can I get this PlayStation game or something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hey mate, how's it going?" And he'd be like, "Oh, it's only $20, And I'm like, "Yeah, good mate. That's nice. Yeah, good to talk to you too, buddy." And then I'll just ghost him, so he gets all over. So, why didn't you reply back? I'm like, "I'm working, mate." And the other thing is, there's a lot going on in this situation, this scenario, and this topic, because I said to my partner, Tegan's her name. She knows I'm working. She knows I'm away. The whole time in our relationship, when I've been at work, she doesn't ring me. End of story. If the phone rings, it's an emergency, like someone's lost a limb. That's it. So I do get very nervous when my phone does ring, because I've got that mindset where something's happened, because it doesn't ring unless something's going on. But she's known that since day one, so I don't get a phone call unless something's desperately going on, which is fantastic. But you get these guys that come out on site, guys, girls, whatever. I'm not for or against anybody or anyone, but if they're clingy and there's this dependence on each other to talk and communicate and chit chat and text and answer calls whenever, that is a recipe for disaster straight out of the hole. Major disaster. And if you set the wrong precedent to your partner that you're available to communicate with them while you're away, you've stuffed that up straight away. And you have to try and come out of that now and say, look, I'm not available. I'm down in the ground. I've got no signal. That's what happens with us. We get sent to one end of the mine, we got no signal. We get sent to another end of the mine, it's perfect. So if you chit chat all the time, and you can talk on your phone doing what we do. I mean, it's autonomous, really. It's not, but I see guys in bad situations because they have made it that they are available to chit chat anytime during the day, and then when they're out of signal for 10 hours, they are copping it hard because their partner now thinks they've been blown up in a bloody mine blast or some ridiculous thing. And then they've got to deal with that. So there's emotional things going on there. There's people getting upset. There's just, mate, it's business. And in many ways, a relationship's a business, and you've got to learn how to run it and learn how to manage it. Everyone's going to know their part, and they've got to know what they're doing and real expectations. No false expectations. I kind of expect the worst and hope for the best, really. So, I don't know, a bit of a rant, but I see guys falling down this. It's a bad way to go. I tell you, it's really bad. Wrong expectations.
Yeah, that's the first time anyone has ever put it like that on my podcast anyway, to the point where you don't contact your family the whole time you're away. Do you text at night when you're out of the hole, when like in your donga or anything, or just from when you leave to when you get back? Don't talk, or you just mean when you're actually at work on site? When
I'm at work. No, yeah, on site. Yeah, correct. No, so every day we do chat in the afternoon.
Thank
Depends.
you. Oh, no. I was like nearly crying. I'm like, oh no, 2 weeks with nothing. That's felt so spidey wrong with me. So yes, when you're at work, it's like you haven't, just pretend you haven't got your phone. Or a lot of sites here, you're not allowed to have your phone.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
that's right.
not
Yeah,
until
that's the problem.
You get home that you,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, but that's what it is. So mine is, have a long one. But we're still good. Like when you first start, you've got this, do you talk every day? You have to talk in the morning. You have to talk in the afternoon. Do you talk at night? Do you talk for 2 hours? Do you talk for an hour? Do you text? It's all new, right? So you don't really know what you're doing. No one knows what's going on. You don't know the expectation. When I first went there, I didn't have Telstra. I had bloody Audi on my Audi, which is a Telstra as well, but it didn't work. First 2 swings, no phone. So, you jump on this camp Wi-Fi so you can use Messenger. But that's what it was for me. So that's one of my first videos was, you need Telstra. Who, what, when, where, why, whatever, just get Telstra. Don't, just do it. That's
over here
thing.
As well. Yep.
Yeah.
I was with Optus, crazy, same thing. I had to go, I went to the post office when I first moved out to my first band camp up here and bought a burner phone. Because there weren't phone boxes there, but I didn't have money because I hadn't even been paid yet. So and you probably I had enough to buy a burner phone so I could contact the family and say, I'm here, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Telstra one.
Yeah, it's weird. But that's why
maybe
I got
they
out
could
quick and
sponsor
fast.
us. Telstra could
sponsor. Just sell the cards on the side to people while you're there,
Yeah,
as
right.
they get off the plane, go, here's a SIM card, mate, you're going to need it. Do it mining tax, charge them $80 for a $2 card.
That is a really good tip for newbies, though. At least get a SIM card for your first trip out there, like a $20 SIM card in case you can't.
Yeah, like if it doesn't work, you got a backup plan. Yeah. So that was all right. So when we started, so we had nothing when we started. So we kind of started that way. And then in the end, it's because you knock off at 5:30. That's your handover time as well, and then you got you go to the mess. If the mess doesn't let you in from site because you're dirty, generally we're not. But the drillers are covered in so much shit that they're walking around dropping mud and things like that. So then you've got it's a slip and slip hazard. So I get it. It makes sense. So they don't want people in there covered in crap, so they don't let anybody in uniform go in. On some, we'll call it some sites. So, you got to go back. You either go to cafe and grab some grub on the way to your room, which is usually slop, but there's chips there. But now there's a chip shortage, but that's a whole nother bloody story. So, and then you go to your room. So if you go to your room and call it 6 o'clock, you've got to your room. And if you want to get 8 hours sleep, you're going to be up at 3:45, 4 o'clock. You need to be asleep by 8 o'clock. Like I say, you want to be fresh, right? You want to be, a little bit overslept than under. But I'm cutting it back now. I'm trying to do like 7.5 hours. I think I sleep a bit too much. So you're out of time. So you get to your room, say it's 6 o'clock, right? You've got your junk food shit slop in your hand. You put it on your table. And now's the time you put on your Aftershocks headphones that I use, and I bloody love them. Or just headphones if you want to cut that other bit out. If we want to not have the name.
All right. Hey, I'm not the ABC. You're allowed to promote anything you want.
Yeah, well, I tell you, the Aftershocks, mate. Because you know what? Then your hands are free, and that's me. I'll get on the phone as I'm walking from the mess to my room. Hey, babe, how's it going? We good for a chat? Yeah, she'll chuck her set of Aftershocks on that I got her as well because she'll be preparing dinner. And then I get to my room, strip off, sit there, eat me dinner, have a chat. And then once I'm done with the chat, I hop in the shower, and then that's me prepared and done. So if we have an hour chat there, that brings me to 7 o'clock. And then I've got, out of a 24-hour day, I've got from 7 till 8 private time. That's how my day fills out. So if I want to go and have beers with the guys at sort of 5:30, and we'll have some chips at the wet mess, something like that, that can blow out till, you get back to your room at 7 and you still haven't made your phone call yet. So that hour that was yours now is going to be used in a phone call and a chat. And then it's gone. So it's up to you. It depends on what's important to you. If chatting with your family is really important and you've got a lot to talk about, you chat with your kids every day and there's time to do that. You've got to make time for yourself as well, though, before you implode and realize that you've had no time for yourself ever. Or, I don't know, things just start getting on top of you because you realize that you're a part of the system and you've got to make it work, and every minute is integral to what's going to happen in the next minute, sort of thing. So, I don't know. That's what we do. So we catch up every day. Initially, it gets a bit hard sometimes because you feel like you're chatting for the sake of it because you're just kind of ticking that box for the day. And sometimes I've done nothing. Yeah, it's like sometimes I've done nothing. Yeah. Sometimes they've done nothing. There's just nothing really going on. And then
it's like Groundhog Day and
yeah, you're like, same shit today, nothing really different. Yeah. But then sometimes they'll feel like, my partner's very, very conscious of how I may be feeling or how it might be affecting me and all that sort of stuff. So she's very aware and conscious of we're going to talk in case I've got something I want to talk about, and she's going to be there for me rather than not calling at all and possibly missing something. So we've got that understanding together as well, where it's like, hey man, if we're all good, then we just leave it. We'll just have a couple of texts or a quick chat. I'll say, you want to have a quick chat? If I'm talking about something, I just want to tell her something, or she just wants to tell me something, that's it. It's just a quick chat. Or we just sit down and have a chat, and if it gets to about an hour, it's funny though. Sometimes you have real funny conversations, and you're just giggling away and just piss farting around, and before you know it, it's I'm looking at time going, oh shit, man, I've still got to have a shower. I've got to go to bed, and it's like 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
like far out.
Yeah,
whoopsies. We don't do them too often, but they're good. They're very useful sort of conversations.
But I had I'm not so fresh today, but I had a good fun night with the missus.
Yeah, good fun night, good fun chat. And even that, you can take a couple of drinks back to your room. So if you want to just knock one back while you're having a chat, it's kind of cool. But it is Groundhog Day. You're right. I mean, it's the same shit. We're just going in the hole and coming out again. That's really. I mean, far out. Sometimes I see something like a lizard or whatever, and I'm like, oh wow, that's the highlight of this swing. And then I'm telling the boys, I'm like, oh, I just saw a lizard, man. That's going to be my highlight. And they're like, oh, yeah, I saw a bird hopping around before. That's going to be mine. Or someone's like, yeah, I blew a tyre. That was my highlight. And you're like, far out.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you win. And
yeah, you can have that one, man. That was funny.
Yeah, you can have that. That's it. And that's where it can get interesting talking to the family at home as well, as opposed to like your old mate. My old mate Rusty had the room next to me. We'd sit on the back step, have a couple of beers, just have a defrag of the day, have a coffee in the afternoon before we were going out for night shift.
Just, it depends on what you do.
Just a chat because because family don't understand about what actually happened in pit and old mate did this or, what happened when that happened. And sometimes it's good. I like to get people to see if they can find someone when they're out there who they can have that with, even if it's not every day on the back step of your donga, but just to have someone on your crew who's been through that day with you that you could approach if you are having any tough time or whatever, who's a trusted one as
reflection.
Well, not a gossip.
Yeah, reflection time with them.
Oh,
yeah, I know. They'll come to you. They'll
defrag the day, I used to say. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come. The gossips will come to you, and you got to. The problem is, why you're trying to make friends and that, so you're gonna. I don't know. I'm so lucky, that the guys I'm with. I'm just really, really lucky that the two guys I spend most of my time with. They're just good guys. Like I'm so lucky, and I've always said it. My team, I got to work such a diverse team. You wouldn't put any of these guys together you wouldn't say those two guys have got something in common. So there's 9 of us. You've never ever go those guys and those guys. It could be any. You could just spit us out anywhere. And everyone's individual. Everyone's completely different. We all look different. It's just funny, and I kind of joke around and do a little bit of a gag, or I'll do like a mimic of somebody, and then they'll go, "Dude, yeah, that was him, man. He did it so well." And I'll just do like just a piss take sort of thing, and it's just funny, eh? And then we all our supervisors, so the heads of the departments, we got split supervisors in our business, but then our department, the parent company of the mine, we've got all those guys as well, and they're all, you got to do what you're told. These guys are looking, or they're coming, and all your safety stuff. And man, once you all get to know each other, you do the right thing. You do your paperwork. You do your take fives. You do your safety. All that stuff becomes natural. If you fight it, then you don't need to be there. But if it all just becomes natural and you do it, you have a great relationship with these guys. We're just having a laugh. You're getting the job done. It's organic. It just happens, and then you don't have all this stress and shit where you think that they're coming to get you and they're looking at you and they're breathing down your neck or whatever. They will leave you alone if they know. Anytime they want to check your paperwork, if they know that it's going to be spot on, they'll never breathe down your neck again. So then you've got these other relationships that you got going on with people in different teams and crews and stuff. It's great. The human part of it's amazing, and really with the right team, you could be doing anything. You could be shoveling shit for the rest of your life with the right crew, and you do it with a smile on your face. With the wrong crew, fuck, you could be getting paid $1 million an hour with the wrong crew, and you end up, you suicidal bloody tendencies. It's just ridiculous the things that people can make you feel.
And sadly, that it happens, doesn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. Common. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've seen a guy. I think one guy there. And this is another thing I don't talk about because I don't feel like I've got the right place to discuss things like this. When it comes to mental health and things like that, there's enough people out there doing it. Everyone's got their issues. So, but there was one guy, that was struggling pretty tough from a different crew, different team, different company, everything, and he was copping it hard. And he was very well supported by the parent company. And And, we'd see him at the mess and that and just check in on him and see how he's doing or what's happening with his day. He's one of these poor bastards that they'd go to work and it was shit. And it was a shit all day. It was broken. It was a driller. Everything was just stuffed. It was just from the start to the end. His whole day was shit. And he just knew the next day he was going back to the same shit. I mean, those guys get pressured for numbers, and this poor bastard was getting eaten alive, eh? He was the only one there. Supposed to be big teams. I don't know. It was just bad. And, you do what you can, you just say howdy and just make sure you know that we're all in this together still. I mean, we're in the same department. We don't work together, but it's like, you know what, man? If that's doing your head in, man, fuck that shit, man. I'll vouch for your health and safety by, recommending you don't go out there today, man. If this is going to get you, fuck it, bin it. But that's bullshit. And I can see that you're not having a good time, dude, so fuck that. Forget it. Walk away. Just walk away. And then the only way we can support him in that instance would be like, man, we're bystanders that are seeing what's going on with this guy. So if we can see that that's happening, that's already gone too far. So, yeah, it's weird. It's emotional, because I know he just seems so alone, and it's just, so me and my crew, my other two guys, made it very, very obvious to him that it's like, dude, you need to sit with us, man. You sit with us. Let's hang out, and yeah, that's what it's like.
And sometimes that's all it can take is just that one kind word or that one event. Something, but not, like you say,
formalise it all. You start formalising it all.
Yeah, and
then it becomes a stigma that you.
You're right. Keep going.
It just becomes especially when you're working with the big companies. You know who they all are. You say anything hinting towards anything, and then their paper trail starts. And it's like, I appreciate the fact that people want. We want to learn from our mistakes. We want to understand why things have happened. Cut your finger off, right? They want to know why did it happen? Have you had enough sleep? Was the right tool for the job, the right environment, the right mindset? Have you got the training? Did you do your take fives? What's your perception of hazards? Are you well rested? All that sort of stuff, Were you set up to fail? I understand all of that, which is great because I love policy procedures and guidelines. I really enjoy that kind of thing. But I'm telling you, man, if you told them every time you had an ache or a pain, you'd never friggin' work again because they'd go, why? How? Why? Tell me. And then you get scared off. You just get scared off, and you don't want to start the ball rolling because that little snowball, that little tiny one, that's that little feeling in the back of your mind, by the time you send them that, by the time it comes back to you, it's a 10-ton ball of shit and it's running you over. And now you're in the system. Your name's all over the paperwork. Your name is all over camp. This is happening. This thing's become a travesty. You'll become a case for them to do paperwork on, And as daunting as that sounds and as bad as all this is coming across, there's a lot of things people aren't telling people because they don't want to become the next bloody study case, They don't want to become the next person that's got all these therapists and all these specialists and all this bullshit going on. It's a tough one. So, don't know.
It is.
I appreciate it in one hand, and in the other hand, you're like, do you say anything or do you just bloody go about your day?
Yeah. And I think that's where we just try to do what's in our sphere of control, have a chat to them, have a, I'm here if you need. But I had the Are You OK CEO on when I first started the podcast, 2016 that would have been, and it was the first podcast he'd ever been on, which was...
Yeah, that's all right. Same as me.
Yeah. And that was one of my questions earlier we never asked. So you haven't been on one yet? You'll
Nah,
have your
not yet.
own
Nah.
soon. You'll be taking over me, mate. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm working
And
on
he
doing
said,
something.
yeah, just you're doing well. You're doing great. Yeah, but he was saying about, are you okay? Yes, is a sentence that we can ask, but just you can be having a game of pool with the bloke and you just start having a chat, or it's not an official, hey mate, how are you okay? Because for some people that won't work, but it's just letting them know that you see them, you see that something's happening, let them know that you're there, give them a kind word, ask them if they want any, do they need anything? Do they need any help? Because some people don't even know how to get any help. And then
yeah,
to find some stuff if they need it, if they say, yeah, like I've been helping someone, a lady actually stuck in a bit of a situation over in WA, not dealing with mining very well. And I sent her all the links. I said, and I've used these people, the Beyond Blues, the Lifeline, the this and the that. They're there. Just pick up the phone and have a chat. If you're stuck in a donga and you got no one, there are professionals who can do things, because she reached out to me and I was way out of my level comfort zone, but then the big thing that he said was about following up with them. So, when you see him next time, how you going? You haven't come and had lunch with us yet, mate,
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And that was my biggest takeaway, was the following up part, just in a week or two or next round. How'd you go? How'd you go at that wedding on break or whatever it was? Just so they feel seen and heard, and that can help a lot.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of flow on from, and that's the thing as well. Though you've got to, you're not just committing to, hey, how's it going? You've got to commit to that follow on as well. So that's another thing where I'm not very good with my time. I'm a bit, like I say, I get a bit recluse sometimes. So I kind of, I'll go in a shell a little bit every now and then. I don't really pop out much sometimes. So I find it hard doing things like I do with even this, things like this, committing to things. Because if the mood just isn't right, then sometimes I won't do anything for a whole week. But yeah, so when you're going to be doing something like that, there is the follow up, and you've got to commit, and you've actually, because I've always had this kind of tendency that people don't mind telling me what's going on or how they feel or what's going on. I've always, it must be the tone of my voice. I don't know what it is. It's happened all my life. And we've always been able to sit down and chat with random strangers and just, even animals, I can't keep them away from me. They're always at my feet. It's just crazy. So I don't know how it works, but
I feel like you won't like this term at all, which is why I'm going to say it. I feel like you're like an earth angel in a 6 foot tall man with the beard working in the mines situation, because they need to be everywhere.
Yeah, but you know what? That's why I did the TikTok and that.
Yeah, which is where I would love to go. Why? Yeah.
Well, that's where, even when I was running the automotive store, I ended up in the, the parts counter, and, someone would come in and I love that. I love that when it's like someone would come in and they'd go, I'd see them wander around and go, how are you, mate? What are you after? And they'll go, oh, I want to work on my car. And I'll say, well, come on then, mate. Tell me all about it. Or I'll just say, what's going on, mate? Tell me all about it. And I had bar stools there at the spares counter, and I'm sitting on one of them now because I brought them from home. And I'd have 4 bar stools there.
You stole them. You stole them, didn't you?
No, I brought them back. When I left. But I'd have them all lined up there, and I'd just lean over the bar on the counter and be like, what's going on, mate? Tell me all about it. And then they just, and then we ended up selling 15 grand's worth of stuff, decking out their 4B. And then there would be 3 other people sitting behind him on the other stools, waiting for their turn to just catch up. And then, and I'm talking to them, and then we're all having a chat. Now we're all friends. These guys, none of these people didn't even knew each other 5 minutes ago. And it was just, I love that. And I really do think that I've got a place in the world somewhere, and it's definitely not where I am. It's just, I don't know. There's got to be something out there where I can help people more, and that's why I did the TikToks and everything. I just saw, if I'm stuck here doing this, and this is what I'm doing now, and I'm isolated from people, I'm isolated from interaction, I'm isolated from opportunities to help humans. Because when you're digging a hole in the ground, you don't feel like you're helping anybody really. It's a bit of a, it's a bit of a dot in the ocean sort of story, a drop in the ocean. But that's why I started doing that, because I was like, man, I struggled heaps when I started, because I was Googling everything and looking. The only thing I could find, there was one page that like 5 websites have all copied, and it's like, what do I take on site, or what do I expect on my first day? And it runs through a list of sort of 20-something things or whatever. And unfortunately, that was the best kind of thing I actually found.
You didn't find Mad Mumsy? You didn't find
No,
Mad
but that's
Mumsy?
why your program.
How long ago was?
No, but that's. That was about a year ago, but since then, yeah, looking at your program that you're working on doing there, no, that thing you're working on, that plug, what's that?
Oh, there's got a start date now, what?
Yeah, that's stuff like that, yeah, is fantastic, eh? And like looking at it now, yeah, but that's all right. I digress. I don't know where I'm going with this anymore.
That's right. You were talking about why you started TikTok, and when you wanted to get into mining and you researched.
Yeah, why I actually did it. Or even that, why I actually, well, back right up to the start, sort of getting into the mining and that sort of thing. That was it. It was just a point in my life where it was like, it's time to get the mortgage organised, because the renting thing's going to shit real bad where I live, and housing's going really bad. And I've always been able to afford sort of reasonable houses. And now it was just like, look, I want to get property. I'm just going to get into mining and try and get that bit of extra income. So the extra that I'm earning now is actually covering the rent that I pay, plus a bit to put away. So I'm actually just on top, and that's pretty much all that's really happened from it. And that's why I was saying I was going to video around the house and that, and show people what I have and what I do, because this is what I've always had and what I've done, because I'm pooling my money. I'm putting it away. That's why I'm there, and that's why I'm doing it, because I need to have money, savings. When you live week to week in a normal retail job or whatever at home, or even in construction and civil and stuff, they don't pay a lot of money. If you're getting broke every time by the time you get paid, what's the point? You're not going to get anywhere. But at least while you're working away, you can work 12-hour days and actually sort of pile up the cash a little bit.
So was your plan to work 3 to 5 years, pay off the mortgage or get a mortgage, or was it to get into mining and just keep doing that until you decide? Because a lot of people think, I'll get a job in the mines, I'll work 3 to 5 years, pay off the mortgage, and I'm done. But then they slip into rich miner mode and go on holidays, put the kids in fancy schools, get that new car, buy a house, pay a huge mortgage, and then they can't go back and work at the council because that wouldn't even pay for anything. And so that's when they end up, they have to stay there and they hate it. And you have to work with people like that all the time. Or we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I did a video on that, and that one was exactly that. It was like, look at what you need a down payment for a mortgage is, and then get that cash. Get that cash priority one to get yourself into the homeowners market. Don't change your tastes. Don't change your lifestyle. And that's why I'm going to feature what's going on in my life and in my house and stuff, because, even in the bar here, I've got 3 TVs, big sound system, PlayStation running through all that, all wrapped around the bar, all on the walls. But I always had that. These are things that I've accumulated over time. This isn't rich man stuff. This isn't mining stuff. This isn't, I've got, a new pool table in front of me, but I've had that since before I started.
And you haven't, since you started mining, upgraded the TV to the latest, sexiest one and all that. And that's the difference. You might have already had it, but you go next level, and all
so that's our thing as well. Yeah. And they changed. Well, see that I got them for $40 and they're like 150 meters. Yeah, but I'm still Yeah, I'm a hustler. If you want, if you're charging $100, I'm going to offer you 80. It's just how I live, and I'm not here to get ripped off, but I
Yeah.
do some things for myself that keep my hands busy. Like I'm a sucker for Lego. So now that I've got a little bit more money, I can buy better sort of sets, and I like to sit here. Yeah, I sit
Oh,
upstairs.
he's a Lego collector.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Lego, right? Because, sorry, my brain's doing 100 things. Your brain, I see as like you said, you're mechanical, but you're clearly like an engineer kind of brain. You want to know how things work, and that's how
Yeah.
what I'm picking up. And then we bought my grandson some Lego from Bunnings. Lego in my day, the adults could do. We got it out. I was like, holy shit. Oh, we have to wait for Pa to come home from the mines to do this. I can't. It was all these little things. I'm like, yeah, that ain't
Yeah.
Lego. To me, that was like a Meccano set, I think I remember it as, where all the mechanical stuff. But this was just freaking Lego. So is that the sort of Lego that you do?
Yeah. So it's Technic
Is
is
my
the
question.
style. So it's all little gears and sprockets and yeah. So like the little trucks you build actually have gearboxes and high and low range and all and remote control and all sorts and cranes and things like that. So yeah, it's cool. So it gives me a chance I can sit down and I sit on the floor in my theatre, which is going to be another video. I, I do have an 85-inch TV, but I did buy that before I was mining as well. um,
I
and
want to
it's
see the receipts. I don't know, mate. You were rich before you went into the mines. No, you were a manager of a local spare parts
Yeah,
place.
but I mean there's no bloody money in that. The only thing I did, and this is it, no word of a lie. The only thing I did is I was working away for probably 2.5 months, maybe 3 months on site. So I was still on probation. I went into Harvey Norman because my couch was killing my back whenever I was home. And I looked at this couch. It was a 3-seater with a electric recliner, electric lumbar, electric headrest. The middle folded down. It had plugs and lights and all this sort of crap on it. And all I had to do was be long enough for me wife to lay on. But I wanted it to be a recliner. It was like 3.5 grand or whatever. And I said to them, "Hey man, can I finance this thing?" And he went, "Yeah, come here, let's sit down." And he goes, "Oh, what do you do?" And then he go, "Oh, we're called field engineers. And who do you work for?" I tell him the company, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no worries. We'll fill this out and give it 48 hours." I stood up and went to turn around and walk out, and I'd already been approved. The thing come through on my phone like that, and it approved me straight away for this Gem Visa friggin' finance card for 5 grand, and all I wanted was the couch. I was
Because
just
you work
testing the
in the
water, to be honest.
mines.
Mate,
Yeah.
his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree, and you tell him who you're working for and what site, whatever, and that was it. And it hadn't been 5 minutes, and I'd been like done, approved, sorted, and I was like, sweet. And they delivered it the next day and stuck it in the house, and that was it. But that is the only thing I've done outside, really. I was just buying a couple of Lego sets every now and then and just having them sitting there for me to build when I'm home and I'm just having quiet time. That's all I've done. There's nothing new. That's the thing. I always bought the toys before. I do rent my house, but I've been able to fill it with things that we own. And my kids have got everything they need and want, and so does my partner. If we want something, we just buy it. So, I mean, I'm even looking around trying to think, and no, I'm still using a lawnmower that's bloody 8 years old and things like that. That's how it is.
Yeah. I
You're
remember
not trapped,
getting a ride on. And that's a good place to be, and good on you for that, and good to share that message so that people, and that's what I talk about a lot is the more you know before you get into mining, the more likely you are to succeed while you're there
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
make it how your vision is that your life wants to be. And the more you
The
know,
golden handcuffs thing
things
is
like
spot
that
on.
really helps. It's true. It's a true thing. I know so many people.
Yeah, the other thing is too, I know people who are living really, really cheap lives at home. People that might be living with their parents, you know. that don't have overheads. Like I've got overheads. I've got a family. This house is not cheap. I mean, it's a two-story house, got a pool and everything. It's premium location. And it's got a bath across, so it's like it's ludicrous. So it's expensive. But I was living here before I was mining. And I know people who work away, same wage as me, right, guys doing the same thing I do. And there's guys that have got properties and they're broke, but they're broke because the money's going into something. They don't have cash. They don't play with cash. They don't flop money around. Then there's guys who have no overheads who are broke because they piss fart around with their money. Whiz-bang toys, maybe whiz-bang clothes. I don't know what they do, but they got no money. And I'm thinking,
holidays to Thailand.
I don't know what they do, right? And then I'm thinking, I put away, a good chunk of money every week. I put away as much a week as some people earn, and that's just every week I do that. And that's just going into a mortgage savings. And then I've still got a little savings account, and then I've still got money left, and I'm paying the rent. And I think that's just how I manage my money. And I spend anything I want. And my partner and I, we still got separate bank accounts. So you imagine that. We both have responsibilities. So mine's the rent, my wife's is the bills, but I pay my rego, she pays her rego. Whatever she's got left has got nothing to do with me. Whatever I've got left's got nothing to do with her. I've got money I can spend for myself. But the pile is still growing, and that's what's going to happen. The pile has to grow. What if you're away and there's no pile, there's no save, what are you doing it for? You're going to leave mining and you've done nothing. And that's if you break even. That's if you break even. It's hard to do. It's accumulating wealth is tough. I mean, it takes time, and it's like, you look at how much you earn and you can have so much, but you still want to have a good time as well. Everyone still wants to enjoy going to the pub, having steaks. If you want to buy something, jewelry or whatever, buy it, do that sort of thing. But you need to put that money, that mortgage savings has to happen first. Do not touch it, because you'll lose the little bit of interest they will give you on it, which, can be a couple of $100 a month once you get a good little stash in there. Have another savings account that you can piss fart around with money in and out, and then have your normal account that you just have money coming in and out of as well. But you're showing the bank that you can save. You're showing them you can accumulate money. You're showing them you can earn good money. There's no point earning $1 million an hour if you're going to spend $1.2 million an hour. You're going backwards. So there's no gain in that at all. I mean, while in saving, so your lifestyle change, you save so much on your lifestyle. I mean, you know it. I mean, the most I can spend on site in a day, if I bought 4 beers a day on site, if I went there every night and did it, would be about $15. That's it a day. And no fuel, no food, no lollies, no iced coffees, no bullshit. Yeah, they're cheap. Yeah, $3 or something, $4.
I know guys who work in the mines. I've never met a woman who's paying child support, I must be honest, but plenty of men who are earning the big money, and then so much of it gets paid for their kids. And there's many horror stories, and you would have heard them as well, around that.
Oh, it's awful.
And especially if it comes to the wrong sort of ex-partner who isn't even giving it to the kids, they're living the lifestyle on the mine workers' money that's meant to be going to the kids. And then so they're doing a job that they hate. They hate the ex-missus. They're angry at the world, and then you got to go work with them. And it's a challenging place for some of them. And they've got to do this for the next, the 4 Johnnies that have got to grow up are still only 6. And it can be a struggle. And then there's others whose partners spend money while they're away, or they leave them while they're away. Like, there's so many horror stories, but there's so many good ones as well, like you. Obviously, it's all, to me, I think it comes down to communication and as my sister would say, your why. What is your why? Why are you there? What's the main reason? You know, and for those of you who are in that situation with the kids, I have also come across some blokes who have an agreement with their missus where custody-wise, they don't give the money to her, but they've got an agreement where they'll pay for the kids everything.
Yeah, just cover all the actual itemised bills.
They pay the school fees. They pay the school fees. They know where the money's going. The kid is getting it.
Yeah.
They buy the clothes. Send me the, you know, or they give them as they get older. They give the kid a card that's from dad, you know, or mum. I'm sure there's some that are doing that as well. But there's lots of tricky situations for everybody, and if you're going into mining, that is also something else to be aware of, that because the more you earn, the more you therefore have to pay when it comes to
the percentage just keeps going up.
Custody. Like, I ain't no lawyer or anything, but I know that that's the case. So some of them have left mining because the money's too much and they don't want the ex to have it. And boom, that's a fact. That's not just Mad Mumsy making shit up. I know 3 people that did that. Well, fuck her. I'm going back to town and I'm going to earn 30 grand a year and I'm just going to see my kids and like,
being normal.
And it's that's right. Have a real life. Oh, no, a real job, I should say, not a real life. So there's so many different situations, aren't there? But we're all in control of how our own situation is and being aware of the different levels of it.
Yeah. I've said to him before that if it's not 100% when you go in, it's not going to get better. Like, if you're going in with a problem, you're going to magnify it to the max. I mean, you've already got people that live, they live shaky relationships, you know. The amount of stuff I hear is ludicrous about people that are just problems with their partners, male, female, whatever, whoever, whatever. But they just got drama, and it's just some relationships are built on that. And they, you know, it's like, oh, he's scored a job away or whatever. It's like, man, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. Like, you think that the interesting about working away, and I'm just fortunate that I'm not in so many social circles when it comes to like women and men, you know, hanging out together and all this sort of stuff. It's just me and a handful of guys. That's all we do. But I don't think there's enough time. Honestly, I don't think there's enough time to like fool around and do any bullshit, mistrust stuff or whatever, because it's just, you're tired. You can't be bothered with it, you know. But people think that we're going out on site and it's some orgy, bloody party, orgy, fucking drunken, fucking orgy. It's like, dude, I tell you what, man, I haven't got the energy to even be around if something like that was going on. I'd be like, man, I'm too tired for this shit. I'm going to bed. You know, it's just ludicrous. But then you do hear some stuff about some sites where it's just, you know, it's like a singles bloody fucking soiree or whatever, you know. But that's strange, you know. You got to think, man. You got to think, right? You know, people and their partner works at Woolies or Coles or Kmart, and they're all males, females, all hanging out together, all having a laugh together, all in the tea room together, all in the lunchroom together, all shoulders to cry on for their problems and partners and all the bullshit. You don't have to be 2,000 kilometres away in a fucking hole in the ground for someone to fuck around and fool around and do all that sort of shit. I'm telling you. But the way that this mining and all this shit is portrayed, where it's like it's a total victim situation, it's a total, it's a total suicide thing, victimizing, womanizing, racist, you know, all this shit. It's just slandered the whole thing to no repair. Like, no repair. Everyone's already got an opinion on what mining and FIFO is, and they don't know anything about it. They haven't got a fucking clue what any of it is. And they're the people that don't even know what it means to work hard in shit conditions that you can't control. That's the world we live in out there. We're pawns in the whole thing, man. We don't tell them how it's going to be. We get moved around the chessboard as they decide. We're not there having fun, partying. We're just grunts, and then we get knocked off the board, mate, and someone else comes in. That's it. We're out. They're in. Job done. Fuck.
That's it.
I remember when I first started there, and all this, it was just this sexism thing was booming, and we all had masks. And I was a astronaut on Mars, right? I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, fuck, this is crazy. And man, I am me. I am like, man, how's it going? What's happening? And I'm looking at people. I'm looking at these women and stuff. I say women because it's what it was really targeted at. We were doing all these seminars and all this stuff where it's like, women abuse and everything. And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, the only thing I know about is what you're telling me. Me and my guys aren't looking at chicks and going, oh, yeah, she's a 10 or a 5 or a stupid. We don't care. We just don't care that much about any of it to even bullshit around doing that crap, And even that, if you give someone curry or something, or you're cracking a joke or whatever, we're normally giving each other more shit than anybody else. Like it's all such tongue-in-cheek stuff. And I was so scared about holding the door, saying hello. I mean, you couldn't smile because you had a mask on anyway, so it was all in your eyes. All your communication was in your eyes, and that made me feel really weird because I felt like I was going to be a victim of the system. I felt like I was going to be a victim of it being too. You're looking at TVs in the mess, and then the chick sits between you and the TV, and you're like, oh, I can't fucking watch the TV anymore because I'll be staring at her. She's going to think I'm staring at her. It's really strange. When you're in town, you walk through a shopping centre and you all look at people, you all look at each other, and you can look at somebody for a couple of seconds and it means nothing. When I first got to the site, if I looked at somebody, I would look at the ground straight away. If I looked at somebody and then they looked at me, I'd look at the ground. I was so worried that someone's going to be, that guy's creepy or he's stared at me or something. I just felt like I was going to get in trouble all the time. And I just thought it was shit. I was too worried about that to just enjoy myself. It was weird. Fuck, it was weird.
And I guess wearing a mask added to it.
Made it worse, mate. It made it so much worse.
Right? At the same time, that's like so much more, isn't it?
Because I'm like grinning away. I'm like, oh, mate, how's it going? I've just come from bloody living in a town where we're smiling, It's like, hey, mate, how are you? My face is my banner, This is me, this is Mitch.
Yes.
You've got a mask on and I'm just like, fuck, I'm happy, I'm smiling, I'm nice, I like you, I want to help you carry your stuff, And I'm like, yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm not one of these bloody fucking idiot. And I don't know. I didn't like that. So there you go. Yeah. There's a guy.
No,
his feelings about being a victim of his own. Oh, yeah, it was awful. And it's like, how interesting is that it wasn't just me either. It was me and all the guys on my team were just like, oh shit, someone, you're laying down to grab your bag and someone bends over in front of you and they're grabbing their bag and you're like, oh fuck, now I can't even look at my bag because someone else's ass is in my face. It was just weird. It was so weird that it just got away from itself. And then now we've done a thing about, they actually came in and sat down and did a chat with us about, how many times in a week would you make a sexist joke? Not never or all the time. And then it's how many days a week would you make a homophobic joke? This was Curtin University or whatever doing a study, and they all came in and sat us down. And the funny thing is, there was never any questions asked about how many times in a week would you make a joke about another guy? Or just a fucking straight person? How many days a week would you make a joke about a straight? And all this, And I was just like, in the end, they said, would you like to put a comment in, And I was just like, I couldn't put it in words what I wanted to say, but I wanted to say what was like, isn't it funny how the sort of, call it straight white male, isn't a part of any of this until they've done something wrong. And then they live in the shadows until they fuck up, until there's something wrong, until something happens, then they're brought into the spotlight. But while they're talking about human beings treating each other equally, they're not even mentioned in the bloody criteria of just how do you treat your friends? Like, how do you treat each other? Like, are you likely to make a joke about a straight white male? I'm like, yeah, I'll just, if we're just laughing about something, it gives a shit who it is, what it is. I don't laugh because it's targeting a certain thing. I laugh because it's funny, I don't get it. So that left me a little bit shook, and it said, would you like to join the program for feedback later on? And I didn't do it at the time, and I really think when I get back to camp, I might try and sign up for that and find out and be someone that can talk with them about that afterwards, because I'm like, you know what, that's weird. You've made yourself very, very biased in that very, very biased day. And I thought, that's not very fair. I'm not one to harp on. It doesn't really bother me, but I mean, come on, equal representation, eh?
And it doesn't give them a broad overview of the general culture and the mucking around and this is how we are amongst ourselves anyway. That I think they need to know that piece as well. Yeah, correct. And it's like I work with Indian guys and that, and Pakistani guys and that, and that's what I meant about when I come in. I was like, man, it's just crazy. I've never even met people like this before, right? And it's just one of the guys, he's the best. He's so good. And he's just like, hey, how you doing, bloody buddy? Oh, come on, man, bloody buddy. He just pulls the piss out of me like a slack-jawed yokel Aussie. And I'm just like, dude, what the fuck? You're the best, man. I love that. He's taking the piss out of you.
He's taking the piss out of me. He's like, hey, come on, bloody buddy. Fuck, mate, come on, shit, And I'm just like, what? Fuck, it's so funny. I laugh with him. He's the best, And he's not taking it. You got these other guys that are the same culture as him, and they sort of walk around with a chip on their shoulder, And it's like, dude, we will treat you how you treat us, man. You'll be treated how you treat others, dude. Because I chat with him, I say, man, am I just like some redneck yokel fucking Aussie to you? He's just like, nah, you're cool, buddy. I like you, man. I'm like, cool, I like you too. Because you're not a dickhead. I like you because you're a good person. That's how it works. If you're a dickhead, people are going to give you shit, And half the time, these people that are sort of
you are.
Mate, exactly. Half the time, the people that are kicking up a stink, it's like they walk around with a chip on their shoulder. And I'm not saying this is everybody, and then they might have whatever reason, but if you walk into a room with a dark cloud over you, man, people are going to see it. They're going to see it. So that's me on that. Time for another drink.
I'm going to grab another beer. And then we might lighten it up. I've got a couple of quick fire sort of lighter questions. You ready for that?
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Sound good?
I'm just a bit of a drama queen.
So I was talking to you in the kitchen, but my microphone's in here.
Yeah, I got a little bit.
In my ears. I said, do you
I'm a drama
like
queen.
No, I heard that. Well, I could hear you, but and I answered back, and then I'm like, oh, you dickhead, you can't hear. Do you feel like you said at the start that you had a FIFO passion rant that you wanted to get out and to talk about family? Do you feel like you've done both of those, or have you still got that left in you before we move on to the next bit?
The family, yeah.
Because there's been a few rants. I'm not sure if that's the right.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bit of a bloody, I know. So, I don't know.
Okay.
You give me a chance, if you want it, if you ask, I'll answer. That's how I work, and I'm not like, oh, you're going to do as I say. I'm like, you know what, man, this is how I see it. This is what I think. I don't really care either way. I'm not going to change. I want the world to change for me. I'm just sharing what I see, and that's what it is. And that's why I try and be as neutral as I can with my videos, where I'm not, in my opinion, but I try not to have too many opinions as well, because then it's, you're just asking for conflict sometimes. But I mean, any of this stuff you can use however way you want to. Obviously, you want to keep it sort of lively a little bit. And I'm a bit, I don't know, probably a bit of a downer in when it comes to the sort of bullshit that we deal with out there. But you know what? A lot of people are.
No,
It's
this is
funny. The
gold.
whole thing's really
It's
funny.
fucking gold.
No,
It's gold.
no,
Is
it's
what
cool.
it
I hope
is.
you like it, eh?
Yes.
So with
And
the
I know
family
my
thing, I think we're
listeners
all
will.
good. No, good. That's cool though. So the family thing is good. I mean, we've got a good system together. There's a lot of understanding from both ways. I'm very lucky to have the wife that I do. Very lucky. That's probably what it all is, really. It's probably what it all comes down to. I've just got somebody who understands, and it's someone that's not in my ear about, like, she won't even tell me things that's bugging her that she might think is just not compared to what I'm going through. You know what I mean? So it's kind of strange where she's like, I know you're in a shit place or whatever, and I'm not going to complain to you about my 8-hour day when I know you're doing a 12-hour. And I'm like, no, just tell me, man. I don't care. Like, it's conversation. It's not a, but she used to like pull back and be like, no, it's all good. And I'm like, what? She's like, I don't want to talk about that because it's just, it's nothing compared to what you're doing, And I'm like, no, I don't care. I just want something different. But that understanding's is good that it's underlying. It's good that it's still there and it's not just taken for granted, because no one will know what we do. I mean, you come home and you're full of beans on your, when you come home and you start working FIFO, it's all honeymoon period. Everything's amazing. Everything's new. Everything's incredible. Everything's just, I'd say, this is what I always say, like, it's mind blowing. Like, it's just completely mind blowing. Like, everything you look at, it's like, what the fuck? They've got their own airport. Like, what the fuck? Who's got their own airport? Everything's private roads. Cars don't even have rego in there because mine's so big. They don't have rego plates. They got their own private streets. It's like they got their own, essentially, like they got their own police, pretty much. Got their own fire department, their own, emergency services. It's mind blowing. So you come home and you just ding, 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 all that shit all the time, and they probably don't really get much of a word in. But no, she's great. The kids are cool. The expectations are set. The expectations are realistic. We know what sort of money we need. We know what we're looking for. I've said that I like to do this long term because I like going to work and working long hours, but staying at work, not coming home and trying to be a husband, a father, and a human being after working a 12-hour day. I don't think that's right. I did it in retail when I was working 10-hour days, and you'd come home, cactus, and you've still got a pile of invoices and shit on you. Your family's there. You're trying to spend time with them, and you're just dragging it all around with you. So I have a couple of local mines, which I thought before would be nice to get into, but I don't want to go there. Do a 10-hour day might be okay, but the money won't be in it. So you do a 12-hour day, and then you come home, and you've got to go to bed in 2 hours. You can't sit there and watch a movie. You can't hang out. You can't chit-chat. You can't get on the drinks. And then your partner's going to have you there as a ghost. Like, they've got you, but they haven't. They won't be able to get on with their day because they've still got you around and you're a part of it, but you're just interfering with it. So, I'm going back in 2 days and we're all going to go back to normal.
Yeah, that's it. You have two kind of different separate parts of life. And but I'll just say before we move on to that bit, if you're a townie, we call them, people who live in a mining town, come home every day or every morning because you're on night shift, and the whole family has to shut up when you're trying to sleep on night shift as well.
Bad. It's just bad. Not fair.
That doesn't always work, especially if you got little kids and dogs and
the neighbour, the lawnmower, the bloody rubbish truck, all the shit going on. Nah, couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's it. It's bad enough in camp when they want to do that.
Oh yeah, camp. Yeah, it's shit. They're out there with the friggin' lawn trimmer or something, whipping out the bloody white gums and that, and you're like, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this shit? We're all asleep. What are you doing? But no, it's funny. So I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Yeah, the blower, and you're like, dude, who cares? The fucking shit's gonna go everywhere. There you go. Do it at like between 4 and 7. 4 and 7.
Yeah, exactly. Before we're actually asleep. Oh, but a lot of people do it, especially over here. There's a lot of people who live in the mining towns and they come home every day and they do that. You see the alfoil on the windows and all of that, and people make it work. And
That's
it's
what Cal
like
Goldie's all about, though.
having a real job. Yeah, like Cal would be the same. Having a real job, but also being home every day, and they've chosen that. There's lots of people that do that. And that's why it's good to have listen to you, listen to me, listen to other people who have amazing content and podcasts and videos and shit, and get as much knowledge as you can to see your family situation. Did you hear that? Siri talking to my wife.
What?
She
Siri?
didn't know how to respond to that. I wasn't talking to you.
Uh-oh.
My God. It's the first time that's happened in a podcast. But to pick out the bits that's me, that's my family, that's what we want to do. All right, yep, that would work for us. Oh, yeah, I never even thought of that. So the more you know, the more likely you are to succeed, with your family and with yourself and with your money.
Yeah. Well, that sort of brings us to my other... Oh, of course, definitely. That's what it is. Information's power, and that's how you're going to make it work. But
yeah,
this is my actual rant. Now, this is where I get real sooky.
Oh, go right. I'm sitting back. Shut up, mate, Mumsy.
This is going to be it. So it's no big deal, really.
Pour a beer into my wine glass.
Yeah. Also, with families and that as well, is that if there's anything like negative going on, you've got to watch your proportions and your ratios of the vibe and things like that. So if there's negative stuff going on at home, it's going to amplify through the roof, right? While you're away, when you're left alone, you don't know what is actually going on. When someone says something, your partner, and something goes unsaid or whatever, and all it is you and yourself is going to manifest that thing into whatever the worst thing it can possibly be. So, like a couple of notes here I've got about that.
So, hang on, before you go into your rant, especially what I always say, if you're worried about someone, both my kids went through domestic violence and big, my listeners know all the shit. People have died, lots of things. And you don't hear from someone and you're going up the ramps back when we had our phones with us, long time ago, 2:00 in the morning, and you haven't heard from partner or kid or whoever, and it just, like you say, it just amplifies so big. It makes it so much worse, and you see you never see the good scenarios. It's always the worst one. And it can be the same for the partner at home, when they haven't heard from us, like what you were saying about, which is a good reason. If I'm at work, I might be able to send you a sneaky message at crib, but that will probably be about it, And if anything major happens, here's the phone number of site and the supervisor, and you can ring and you can get me for major shit. Like, you always need to have that. But it amplifies 20 times more, 100,000. Think full moon, think blood moon.
Yeah, because once you get good at what you do, you can do it with your eyes shut. So then it's not occupying your mind anymore. It's not keeping you busy. It's not keeping you entertained. You find it elsewhere, and your mind, you are the worst person you want to be stuck with is yourself. And that's what I've said before as well. If you've got things going on in your head on the best of days, and coming out on site could be the last thing you ever do, because you can be stuck by yourself. The loneliness is just crazy. I mean, I'm on a pattern with 2 other trucks normally, and we all split out, and like that night shift, you're the only person on the planet, really. Once they're behind you and stuff, you flick your work lights off, there's nothings. And sometimes at night we don't get a sky because there'll be light plants around the place. There'll be the next bench will be getting worked on, or the one
Yes.
above us.
Yeah.
So you'll have that glow. You still always got a bit of a glow, and you never really get that proper, like, wow, look at the stars. It's kind of rare to get a really good night because you've got this. It's around you, though. If you're really deep and you look up, you're looking at a shooting star, and then it's a bloody truck going past because you're like 12 benches down.
Yeah.
And you're looking straight up,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's a bloody water cart, zipping past right on the top.
That's it, yeah. Whereas with us, we drive out of the pit, which is why I would never want to operate a digger or a dragline or anything and be stuck in the hole, or a drill. I want to drive in and out. I want to do both, except when it's raining and you're going psycho down the ramp. I don't like that.
We're doing twirly whirlies.
Well, we were talking about family and stuff. I think we're probably up to your rant. I reckon your rant and then my quick fire questions, and then which will be.
I could do this every week if you want
to. Oh my God! I was just thinking then, like I could. We can do this after, but I could see us doing something together because you have so many perspectives that men relate to, and then I know that women relate to me a lot, but I am not about women. I'm about miners. There's a lot of people who do what I do. Well, no one does me, but they're doing things as well, but they're more for women and all that. And I'm not. Neither's my sister, Steel Cap Sisters. We're just freaking. It's about mining. It's about people. It's in general, So, I think there's a lot of opportunities. I just love it. I love talking about mining and everything about it with people. Yeah, but there's lots of opportunities.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like before I did any of this, but I've always joked and said, look, I could talk about anything. Like, it could be anything. That's why I'm spreading out my content a little bit towards the house. Like, I'll be in the bar and people will see like Hot Wheels cars in the background, and then they'll be like, when are you going to do a tour of the Hot Wheels? And I'm like, that's not a 60-second thing. But then it's like, hang on, I've got 2,500 Hot Wheels cars. And it's like, or like the barbecuing, I can literally do cooking with coops or something and do anything. I can do anything I want. The amount of things that I do a lot of people are like this. They just do things, and then they realize, hang on a minute, people actually are interested, or that I can help, I can teach, I can show, I can share, and people love it. So yeah, like I said, I could talk about anything really. It's just give me an opportunity and an audience, and we'll get into it. Like this, like I say, I've got a lot of opinions. I have had a lot of women pop up on my stuff, not a lot, but some, and they've asked things like, my husband's going to a new site, or what should I expect for him? Or some woman's gone, oh, my husband's just left me after 22 years. He's at a site and there's all these women there and stuff like that. And I'm just like, look, man, if he went there and that went down the drain in the first month or two, it was gone before he left. Like, that's pretty clear cut that it was gone before he left. And then, like, it's just not like that here. We're not partying. It's not. We're busy, man. Like, he's gone there looking for an hour or whatever. I don't know, but I think, like you said, that collaboration style where you got women relating to you, maybe they want to ask a guy questions.
Of
talk
course.
to a guy about how his mindset is and how your mind thinks when you're there, and like. But it's all mind control. It's all self-control. It's all, you think, like, my partner works in retail. I'm not there going, oh, she's there with Joe and Jim and Jeff and all this crap, and they're all having a laugh in the lunchroom. I don't care. But she's working, doing her thing. I'm there working, doing my thing. That's it. We come together at the end. That time we have together is important. It's not spent accusations and friggin' bad vibes and all this bullshit. That's. People drive themselves apart. That's it. They create their own wedges, and they just drive themselves apart. That's underlying. It was never destined to last, and people like that. So, All right, rant away. This one's good, and you'll like this. So this is giving me the shits, man, and you should know who I'm talking about, right? So I will mention it so we got clarity about who, and I don't know how well spread out you are across TikTok, but there's this peanut on there who's just had too much red cordial, like he's just off his head, pinging around off the walls, saying things like, "Are you sick of working FIFO and your fucking life sucks?" And anyone that says life FIFO's good's full of shit, and they're all just fucking making it up, and it's bullshit, and you'd never do this and you can't do that, and it's a joke and all this crap. And he's just this
And is he young?
testosterone friggin' twit. Yeah, he's probably my age. He's probably 30s, mid-30s or something. And he's just...
Yeah, probably. I think I come across him just the other day. I'm like, what's this?
Full of beans, right. And you're just like, what the fuck's going on here?
I think I know who you mean.
He's getting heaps of traction because people are like, this guy's a peanut. But so these people that do this shit, right, really pisses me off. And that's the other thing about this mining, this whole thing. I mean, and it gives me and you a platform, right? That's why we're here, because it's, for some reason, it's such a topic. Like, people don't talk about retail. They don't talk about construction, but mining, it's such a weird thing that we're all put under this massive blanket, right? And then because there's so much perceived knowledge that is just not real. Like, they think we're going to go work in the mines. I mean, the mines. Like, it's this Alice in Wonderland place, you just walk in there and if fucking munchkins are running around and the music, singing the music, we're all just la 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 la. We all work in the mines, money flying everywhere, like gold bars and shit. It's like, what the fuck, man? We work in dirt, we work in shit. And we're allowed to do it for 12 hours a day. That's what we've been given. That's the hand we're dealt. There's no glory. You're working in shit, right? End of story. It's like any job. The problem is you get these peanuts, this hyperactive shit going, "Are you sick of working FIFO? Are you sick of doing that crap? Sick of not seeing your friends? Sick of never going to your fucking birthday parties and all this crap? Well, I've got a way out for you. Join my program and I'll get you out." And it's like, that is people exploiting, that is people exaggerating all the negatives and completely exploiting people who feel like they're trapped in that lifestyle. These people will not save the day. They will not get you out. They will not fix your fucking financial problems. They will not fix your marriage. They will not fix the relationship that you've lost with your family and your friends. Yet, people are jumping on board. This stuff is poison. Like, this stuff is cancerous shit. They're targeting people that are already vulnerable and alone and have their own demons, man. There's already stuff going on there that people like this ain't going to fix. They're not going to help this shit one bit. And I think that's wrong. I think that stuff shouldn't exist. It's not fair. And I mean, my channel, what we do, we're not promoting the lifestyle like it's going to save the world and you're going to have the best time ever and it's going to be fantastic. That's the other half of my issue, is there are these pages where there's people dancing. They're dancing around. They're having a great time. They're clapping their hands and their outfits are changing and they're doing their, morning selfie in their, bare essentials. Yeah, all the bullshit, and they're making it like it's a fucking dance party. That shit is not on, because our whole FIFO world is these two things, right? It's the person, whoever they are, dressed in their high vis and then clicking their heels and then they're in their little outfit, dancing, having a great time. And they've got this idiot over here who's going, fuck mining, fuck FIFO, you're an idiot if you're still doing it. And if you say you like it, you're lying. That's it. That's all I see right now. And then I come down the middle and it's like, I don't want to be one of these people bagging it, because, but I do. I'd be real. I just say, you know what, you're going to come out here, you're going to eat 1,000 flies. That's it. Basic, straightforward. There's thousands of flies. It's 56 degrees. Bring your water. But I'm telling you, get ready for the flies. Stay hydrated. You know, I'm not telling you it's shit because it's 56 degrees. I'm telling you, fucking bring your water, man. You're going to need water. Get a good jug, get a good bottle, you know. And my point is trying to be as positive as possible. But this other shit is nuts, man. Like, that's it. I think that's crap. And they glorify it. These people that do their little clap and their bums are hanging out and all this shit, and they got 100,000 million fucking views. And it's just like, I don't think there's any value in that. I think it's rubbish. I think the only good stuff that's going on is the stuff that we're doing. And another chap on YouTube that's got his New Starters channel on there, I think the stuff he's doing is really good. A couple of other people on there that are good, but they sway a little bit towards weird stuff that they're doing at home as well, which is not very good focus. But nah, that's about it. I don't think that stuff's good for anybody. I think it's poison, eh? Something like that.
I'm a little bit teary because I totally agree with your rant. And I feel like we are just giving people an insider's view of what to expect and how to prepare for it.
Yeah.
And the two sides of the spectrum that you described, I can see. And you're right. There's
just
the
weird
ones that do that, like bang. I'm at work and I'm doing this, and bang, now I'm living the high life and all that. And, you know, it's the thing is, it's their freedom to share what they want to share. But I also understand what you're saying, and especially about the one who's focusing on the negative, because that isn't helpful. And
nah, that's preying on people that are down.
That's yes. They're the ones that will see that and listen to that, and it's like they're using FIFO, you know. And there are thousands of people who are doing it. Like FIFO is a thing, but it's also FIFO, Dido, CISO, Hi-Ho. Do you know what Hi-Ho is?
Hi-Ho?
Other than Hi-Ho,
no.
Hi-Ho, it's off to where we go.
Back to the bloody, the little guys running around.
That's right. It's helicopter in, helicopter out.
Oh, yeah, helicopter, yeah, heli in and out. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, like Barrow Island and places like that.
Barrow, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, and because someone I know was there once. We'll leave it at that. And that's how I found out about that. And actually, no, someone who was on my podcast who was talking all about family, she wrote a book, I think, Separated by Work, and we had 2 episodes. And her husband went to an oil rig. Oil, would it have been? Up the top
oil
there.
And gas, yeah.
And, and he was doing Hi-Ho, and I'm like, what the fuck? I've never heard that. So when people use FIFO, and there's, like, you follow all the hashtags FIFO, like over here, many people, probably 80% are Dido, which is drive in, drive out. Couple hours, 2, 3, 4 hours. Or if you're up Townsville, they might do the further, like a whole day travel, but they're driving. But there's also people that'll fly, and they fly to Brisbane or to Townsville, especially like from Carmichael and that. But so I see the FIFO lifestyle that people focus on as mining lifestyle.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. And I agree with you 100%. And like my sister always says, because she lives over there, so she gets the anti-FIFO sentiment and has been dealing with it for many, many years and done lots of things around it. And but I love that she also likes to balance it with there are thousands of people, tens of thousands of people that are living the FIFO lifestyle that love it. And it's working for them, and they're happy, and their family's okay, and they're not broken up, and they're, and
yeah, but they don't get Facebook pages for those people. That doesn't happen. Yeah, that doesn't get views. Nah, but they don't. People don't talk about things that are good.
no, which has got a lot to do with what we try to do.
Yeah, but it's like when we started, you go on Facebook and type in just FIFO, and the first two things you're going to probably see is FIFO cheaters and FIFO some shit, some negative bloody FIFO wives cheating or some crap, And it's like, great, that's the first, even the FIFO wives stuff. My partner was into that because, they all go and look to find helpful information. But of course there's none. The whole time I know it's just going to be a shit show. And it's just, people on there. Oh, my husband comes home, he doesn't do anything. Oh, my husband comes home and all he wants to do is have sex with me. My husband comes home, he doesn't want to have sex with me. My husband comes home, he wants to sleep the whole time. And it's like, they're never going to say, and my partner's like, what the fuck? I don't understand what the hell's going on. Why are these people together? Why are these people in a relationship if this is going on? And, someone's going, even if it's like, oh, when he comes home, all he wants to do is have sex, and then they're going, oh, you're not his sex slave and you don't deserve that and everything. And it's like, well, the next person's complaining they don't get anything when they come home. And it's like, what the fuck? It turns into this weird Ricky Lake, bloody Oprah Winfrey, friggin' Jerry Springer shit, and you're like, come on, people. I said to my partner, why don't you tell them how good you've got? She's like, I don't get it. I don't understand any of this shit. And I'm like, why don't you tell them? And she goes, oh, I'll probably get kicked out of the group. I just go,
she'll get
don't be with someone.
crucified.
Yeah, it's like here, don't be with someone you're not compatible with. Don't commit to a relationship and turn it into a business where you can't bloody leave no matter how hard you try. Don't sit back and spend money that isn't yours because that's the lifestyle you want to live, but then hate the person that's providing that sort of thing as well. Male, female, whatever, I don't care. Don't be a dickhead. Hey, hello. Just don't be a dickhead and you won't, shit like that won't happen. I have this thing where I'd say, and it's a little bit biased and it's a little bit down the line and it's not quite true, but, shit things happen to shit people sometimes. Come on. I've been dealt some pretty bad hands sometimes. I do think back and think, you know what, I've done some pretty shitty things as well as a young person. But sometimes shit things just happen to shit people. And if you're not a fucking shit person, sometimes good things happen as well. So, I don't know. But the sparks only fly when it's all going wrong. And then everyone's looking. And it's like, oh shit, something's gone wrong here, something's stuffed up. No one gives a shit when it's all going to plan. Even my supervisors are like, man, I'm glad when something breaks because then we've got something to do. I'm just like, dude, I can make a break. I can make something break for you every day if you want.
That's it. Yeah, it's like when you have a state of the nation or a big meeting out at work and you're like, oh, it's never going to be good. Or they'll say, oh, the prices are high and there's this and there's that. And then they say, but we still need to get the price per ton down, like to get it out of the hole. Yeah. You just told us how much you're getting per ton, and then it all comes down to that extra 2 minutes that we spent where we parked up early, because
times every day, every year, every truck.
Right, exactly. And if you're on a 3/4 of an hour turnaround down the pit, out of the pit, it can be longer, can be shorter, depending what levels you're at and all that. And you've got to time your park up to perfection because you don't want to be the last one the bus is waiting for. You don't want to piss off the digger driver who's like, he's already walked off the bench. He's like, what the fuck did you come back for, you dickhead? Well, it was a bit early to park up. I'll be the one in trouble.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to be the truck that should have gone down in the pit and didn't, and the digger is sitting there, wait on truck, wait on truck, wait on truck. And so that means the whole crew's parked up early and everyone's in trouble. It's either way you want. And on the last day, no one cares, It's like, yeah, we'll deal with that when we come back next week. Just get up here so that you're ready to get on the bus. We're going home. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Right.
See, I'm lucky I don't do that with what these guys would do, because we see that where, the truckies all have to leave earlier and they get back later. So that's where I'm lucky in that sense. But I mean,
yeah, definitely.
There's so much going on out there. Like, I mean, everyone wants to be a dumpy driver. Everyone, I just want to get out on the mines and drive the dumpies. And it's like, man, I don't know what they think the money's like. I don't know where all this stuff comes from, that they've got this in their heads. But yeah, the people that I'm getting is like, I'm getting so many foreigners and stuff that are like, oh, can you get me a job and can you sponsor me and all this crazy stuff? I'm telling you, man, like, the stuff that's going on out there is ludicrous. And you see, I've hit about 5, 6 in followers. And the interesting thing is that they're repeat commenters, they're repeat watchers, they're repeat for every single video I do. I know I've got a bit of a hashtag bomb, but I have already reduced that down by about 10. I don't really know how any of it works. I'm just winging it all, really. I didn't even know what TikTok was, until a few months ago, 8 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever.
Me too, I'm new on it all.
Yeah, it's like, what? But like, somehow it's working and whatever's going on, but they are I tend to find they are genuine. Like, the people I have on there are genuine. If someone does some funny video of them tripping over on dog turd or something and they get 1 million views, none of that's genuine. None of that's going to happen again, because people are just laughing at some bullshit thing, and they got a heap of views and they got 5,000 followers. It's never going to happen again. They got no interaction with the person, and their page is actually about origami or something stupid, and it makes no sense. But at least mine is actually genuine, so my audience is quite engaged, quite genuine. I get a lot of feedback, a lot of comments. I mean, it's endless. I can't keep up with it. But like, it's helpful, and whatever we can do to try and spread that sort of thing is great, because I do have a couple of other people that I'm working with. So like a machinery company, or a company that has an app that has a machinery sort of app. So once you've got it in there, you can put the trucks and the machinery that you work with on there, and then people can actually talk about just the machines. So like wiring harnesses, it's leaking oil, how do I run it? What does this knob do? So people can get together. It's almost like Facebook, where people can actually just use that program. And I'm just like, dude, come on. Of course I want to be involved with you. This is help. This is helpful. I'm here to help.
That's your brain going, oh, I like that. Yeah.
I'm just like, man, hello. Because everything I do is me learning from Jim to then share it with Joe, and that's what I do with work and my kids and everybody.
So I do have a question as we start to move into wrapping up this epic episode. But don't worry, there's going to be a lot more of us two together in the future. So watch this space. Definitely. But how do you get away with having your phone on site for all your social media stuff, your TikTok, your Instagram, your YouTube and Facebook videos, especially the TikToks?
Yep. So we get breaks during the day. And the best thing about it is the TikTok's only 60 seconds long, and I only do short form content. And that's the exact reason why. So we don't leave the pattern where we're working for a break. We don't go back to a crib hut. We don't do that. So we have breaks as we see fit.
Mad Mumsy's got a hand up. And that is a question I had written down, but thought we might not get to it. You don't have your lunch. You don't have crib and your breaks at a crib hut. You have them in the pit. Because I've seen your TikToks about your funky lunch boxes and stuff, which is good if you need that. If you haven't got a fridge at the crib hut, like many of us do.
So it's not bad. So because the other thing is as well, you look at guys that are on pattern and like the blast crews and all that, and they all leave, they shut down everything and they leave to go have lunch. So
Yeah.
they shut down, they've got time out to drive to the crib hut. So call that 10 minutes, maybe 15 sometimes. And then that's not in their time. That's not taken out of their lunch, which it can't be. And then they've got time back, so 10, 15 minutes. So call that half an hour of production time that they're using to transit back and forth. Call it an hour for lunch. So I've been at these crib huts when people are having lunch and they're doing hot seating and stuff like that, and everyone's just laying around reading a book or they're on their phone or they're whatever, or doing nothing. So what we do, and you've got to take the good with the bad with this, is we have our break on the fly. So our machines, we can eat while we work, plain and simple. The other thing is if you want to have a break and go and have a sit down and do nothing, then when you shut the truck down, the particular trucks that we use, they take a while to warm back up again. So even if we hop out of the truck and have a conversation with somebody else for about 20 minutes, our machinery, our tool will disconnect from the rest of the software and we'll have to fire it all back up again and get it going. So for the sake of keeping the ball rolling.
Sorry, interruption. So your truck needing to warm up isn't the actual truck needing to warm up, like building up the air or something. It's the software reconnecting more than anything.
The equipment, okay. The equipment. So it's the tool that hangs off a wire that goes into the ground is an electronic system that's talking to an onboard system, which is live as well. So that has to send signals back and forth along the wire. And the wire can be 600 meters long. So you've got data going through that wire. It's trying to run a system. It's trying to boot it up. It's, there's about 50 things that are running all at once. And once all that's in harmony and sync, then it runs and then we're off and racing. So when it's going, let the good times roll. So us as operators as well will be just, if we're humming, man, and we're happy, we're humming along, just trying to get our quota, we're happy to just keep going. If you shut the thing down, this is where I say you got to take the good with the bad. If you decide to shut it down, pack up, leave the pattern, go and have lunch, come back, fire it back up, you've probably lost 2 hours if you're lucky. Absolutely, if you're lucky, you've lost 2 hours of production in that day.
And then you do that twice a day. If you did that
if
twice
you want
a
to have
day,
your 15, if you want to have your smokos and stuff, I mean, and we're on a blast pattern, right? So it's not safe to be walking around on in the first place. So you've got that human safety aspect of things. You've got, do you go and have a 15-minute break and just walk around on a pattern full of holes and potential trip hazards and things like that? You got to keep sense where sense belongs. It's not common, but it's got to be there. So yeah, we don't have lunch breaks. The long and short of it, we don't actually have a dedicated lunch break. If we need to go to the throne and all hell's breaking loose, and we can get an LV to come in and grab us, but we've usually got drillers around, blast crew around. There'll be an LV floating around somewhere. We can hit the horn and or get on the radio and just go, hey mate, can you zip me up to the next crib up if you're feeling a bit crook or whatever, or you need to go to the loo. That's it. But no, we carry our gear. We're very self-sufficient, and you'll see on my videos, if you've seen the ones I did about what I carry on site, my backpack, I haven't make that a 3-part video because the amount of stuff I take with me. And the whole point of that is just, man, be comfortable. Be comfortable. If you're stuck somewhere, especially in an environment like that, just be comfortable. I've just added another thing to my kit now that I'm going to take, and it's like a 1.1 litre, an 800 ml bottle, but it's one of those thermal things. I'm just going to put hot water in it, so then I can have me 2-minute noodles out there because we can't cook anything. We always eat cold food. Yeah, I'm bloody excited, eh? So I saw that and I was like, I can have 2-minute noodles. I could put some red sausages in there or something crazy. I can get al dente, mate. I can have it all happening, eh?
Get all funky,
we cook we cook pies on the exhaust system. Like that's just, we got pies and sausage rolls because they got all the Mrs. Max out there in the mess. We stick them on the heat shield for the exhaust and cook our pies and stuff like that. So it's good until you forget.
I've heard that before. Underground do stuff like that because they don't have microwaves or anything.
And then you
Yeah.
remember, and this is what happens. You remember, and you go, oh, shit, me pie. And then you look at it, and it's gone, and it literally just fell out like the last hole that you were logging, and you're like, oh, no, man, I had a thought about it 10 minutes ago. It would have been sweet, but now it's on the ground. Shit. So yeah, it's funny, but yeah, no official breaks for us.
Right. So we were talking about, I think, phones on site and how you've got permission.
Yes, those phones. Yep, correct.
That.
Yep. So that's
how
it.
we
That's
ended
right.
up with crib, I don't know, but that was me. Sorry.
Well, that's lunch breaks, right? So that's what I do. So I've got time for myself to do whatever I want with. So my smokos, my lunches, I use them when I want to, and that's what I do. I go and stretch my legs and make a video. That's it. And then in my lunch break, I might edit it and put it together, or I usually do them when I get back to my room. So my videos, I get asked a lot to do videos about camp. Can you do a walkthrough? Can you do a day in the life? Can you show me the truck? I get a lot of requests like that. People that want to see the action. They want to see the grit, But I just don't do it. I won't do it. I probably never will. The client, so the big company that I work for there, I'm a contractor. So my company are okay with everything I do because I don't show anything. I'm not defamatory in any way. I'm not, goofing off and dancing around and acting silly. I'm telling you guys out there, people that get snuffed out, the nail that gets hammered, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. All right? The nail that sticks out gets hammered. If you're going to do videos, jumping around your bedroom, jumping around the crib hut, jumping around on site, acting a fool, slipping around, sliding, dancing, doing silly stuff, you're going to get taken out. End of story. Because you're making the company look bad. You're making things look silly. You're making your health and safety look like a joke. And that's where things are going to go south for people that are doing the wrong thing on videos. So, and if you're adding sexual content and things like that, you're just going to get snuffed out as well because it's not what we're there for. We're trying so hard every day to equalize and make everyone be treated equal. And if you're sexualizing the trade and the site and what you're doing, if you're making it you're just making it worse. You're not doing yourselves any favors at all by prancing around and making it a sexual thing. It's ridiculous. So I know you get views and you think it's fantastic, but just do it in your own time. Don't do it in your uniform. Don't do it on site. Don't do it there. Don't make it a FIFO a thing. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, you're wearing your name badge. You're wearing your gear. You're just making yourself look ridiculous. So just that has to stop, right? End of story. I mean, I do my videos. I make them as educational as I can. I try not to show anything in the background. Like I said, my company screen my videos. My client screen my videos. Everything has been seen by everybody. And I'm just careful to not show things that don't need to be shown. So I don't know. What else is there? I leave it to them to tell me I can and can't do it. Other people have done stuff. Other people have said things. Other people have talked about where they work, and they are the ones that are getting chatted up about it. So they know who they are. They'll know it when they hear this.
And that's a big lesson. Because everyone listens to this podcast, right? But it's a good lesson for people who are new to mining or haven't quite got their start yet, to be aware about what you're allowed to take. They'll generally, when you first start, especially if you're going to be a truckie, they'll let you have one photo with the truck. You can put that out on your social media, but after that, game on. You can get fired for it. And that's why
it's intellectual property.
It is. And you're on their site.
And it always will be.
And you will have done inductions and procedures when you signed up about their social media policy. And you have to follow it. And even if you put on your, say, your Facebook profile that you work at so-and-so, you can get in the shit for that, because everything that you then put on Facebook is
you're
seen
representing
as
that
saying
business.
representing the company. So as
Yeah,
soon as I heard that
definitely,
in a big meeting years ago when they changed it, as I was walking down the ramp on my phone to the light vehicle, because we were allowed to then, I changed where I worked to like madmumsy.com. I don't work at this place anymore because I'm not representing them when I'm fishing. Or I don't fish, but like for people that fish or whatever, when I'm home on
But it does
break,
happen, eh?
I don't do that. And also they search your email address.
Yeah.
So whatever email address you sign up for, I'm not sure about all the social medias, but for Facebook, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. The I was going to say humanity. What is it? Human resources. When they do go into social media and check shit out, and they put people's email address in, and that's what will show up. So beware, and know before you go in. That's the thing.
Yeah. So
don't take a photo of that
concern.
incident that you saw.
Don't show.
And that's why. That's the biggest why.
Of course.
As to why
and if you're there doing a pirouette with a mop in your hand and you're talking about watch me clean a room on the mine site and you're spinning around with a mop in your hand, when you fall over and break your wrist and you're trying to get a medical claim, they're going to say, well, we just watched you in a TikTok video doing, you don't know how to use your tools properly. You're acting a fool. You're doing silly things like that. That's your character now. And the insurance company's going to go, dude, no way. You'll let it. And your supervisor's allowing you to act like this on site. And you've done video evidence of you doing it. So, I mean, hello. And the other things are, if you're going to go, and this is rampant, you'll find this anywhere you find someone. And I reckon I'm just one of the few that doesn't do it. And I've been through my stuff to make sure I don't.
Because you're so special. I can't wait to hear what it's going to be. I need to know what this is. No.
It's you when you're a channel or you're someone, I'm Mitch On Mining, right? So my stuff is mining. You go through people who have got a FIFO's their connection to their social media, and they've got a channel and they've got all these views and all this following and that. And then they're showing you stuff of their dog jumping around, ripping up a goanna, or they're at a shopping centre bagging out Woolworths, or they're just having a sook about the Shire or some stupid shit, or they're talking about problems at home and all this random crap, or their boyfriend or their girlfriend, or what the, I mean, hello. So they've had a channel that was getting this sort of interest for things that actually are relevant and interesting and on point, and they're going to fill it out with all this other bullshit, and you're just like, what the hell is going on here? And in the meantime, they're wearing a Rio outfit, a BHP outfit, an FMG outfit in one video, and then they're jumping around a nightclub drunk as a skunk kicking a friggin' wheelie bin down the road or something in the next video they're making. Like, what? You wonder why you get the sack? You wonder why you get chatted up? You wonder why you're giving things a bad image? You've done it right there and then. It doesn't take a genius. And I'm telling you, this is rampant. This is totally rampant. And even some of the big people that have got tens of thousands of followers when it comes to FIFO-related stuff do silly stuff like this and do off-the-cuff videos that make no sense. And they are just tarnishing themselves, what we're trying to do here, the whole thing. It's just weird. I don't know, it's just a joke sometimes. It's not easy. It's not hard to be careful. And, I've got so many eyes watching my stuff, and I haven't been picked up on anything yet.
Yeah. And I hear a lot of people that I follow about social media and online marketing and online courses and all the things, and they say that about not diluting your content, but they also say it's not bad to have like one channel or say Instagram your stories or something as more of an insider view of what you're doing so that they feel like they can connect with the person instead of it being your main content. But in saying what you just said, I'm thinking, oh, do I do that? And because I've got a bit on TikTok, not a lot, but I did one, and I remember it was a Sunday afternoon and I was sitting by the fire, and I've got this tree where the seeds pop in the winter when it gets cold, and I was having a fire and I videoed it, and I'm like, this is shit, I'm going to get it on video. And I got it on video, and do you know that's my most watched video? And I'm like, it's not even mining related, and you're diluting your content, you dickhead. It was so funny. I just had to do it.
And you just think, oh, I could. So look, I have got a couple of other ones that I've picked up because, like I said, I got I got a bit of attention with the barbecues from people. So I actually started.
See, that's where you'll have to be careful now
because I've got thousands of videos and photos of barbecue stuff that I've done over the years. When I barbecue at the beach, when I'm camping, at my old house, my new house, so many different things. So I've done a barbecue one for TikTok, and I've actually done a cars one, like a Hot Wheels cars one, and that because my son, it's an opportunity for me and my son to share them. You know, I found out I was having a son 14 years ago, and I thought, well, I'm going to start collecting cars for him, and one day they can all be his. So, you know, we're talking 2,000 plus cars. You know, and he's 15 now, and we're still just getting them randomly, sort of one at a time. But so for the cars one, what's going on here? We called it Cooper's Cars.
That's a good idea.
So that's on TikTok.
Cooper's Cars. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So
and what's the
Cooper's
barbecue
Cars
one?
on TikTok. Coop's on cooking. I was going to do Mitch on meat, but I thought that might. Mitch on meat might get the wrong. The thing is, though, everything is meat. I mean,
I was going to say I nearly swallowed my microphone, but that's not true.
that just plays into the same situation. But yeah, I know. And I'm like, yeah, Mitch on meat, that's good. I'm like, I can see where this is going to go, so I'll make it Coops on cooking. So no, but like. I don't know. Like I was saying, a lot of things happen.
Oh. Yeah.
I was going to say you do a lot of things sometimes, and it's just worth sharing it. That's all.
Yeah. And that's a good idea to, rather than dilute your channel, like, so for those FIFO channels that are doing all the stuff on their break, create another channel for that. You know, and share your stuff when you're on site, if you're allowed to, and all of those things. But
yeah, that's right. There you go. If this is an educational, point, then that's what it is. So I'm doing it. Be professional in what you do. So like I've got my channel.
Yeah.
It's mining related stuff. I'll give you a sample of what I do in my R&R. And then if you read the comments, read the room, like, look what's going on. People are like, man, your barbecues, your food, your barbecues, your food. Cool. Now, bang, I'll make another channel. That's where I can filter people to. Yeah, whatever happens. It's fine. But, yeah, I'm not bringing it into mine. And I'm not like, oh, come with me down to the beach. Like, I might be down the beach. I'll do something down there and be like, oh, hey, Mitch, because Mitch on R&R, like that's another take on what I'm doing. Here I am down at the beach, sweet. And then in the background, you'll see my car and my setup. And then that'll be like, dude, what's going on with your car? Because I've got a bar, I've got an oven, I've got 2 fridges in my car, I've got the slide pan, and I had all that before I was doing FIFO as well, FYI. So, but people will pick up on that. They see it in the background, they want to know. But then you don't want to bombard your channel with car-related stuff because it's not what we're here for. So know your audience. Dedicate yourself to what you're doing. I'm still a beginner. I got no idea what's going on. I'm nobody. So, just
not true. Not true anymore. You need to change those boots, Mitch, because they're changed already, right? No. Yeah, you've learned a lot from your journeys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't even been mining a year yet. I mean, it'll be a year on the 25th of January, and that's it.
Right. So, yeah, you never quite answered that question at the start. So, less than a
There
year.
you go.
Let's see how you go for the next.
I know, like I say, sometimes it's like it only takes a year, and you know, you
That's it.
kind of know.
And yeah, yeah. I was good for the first 10 years, and the last
Yeah,
3 were a struggle. But as it turned out, I was going
yeah,
through menopause, but didn't know, which my listeners know about. I was just, I can't do this anymore. Like when I needed to go to the crib up for a cup of tea because I got smashed with that big rock. But that was a fucking big rock. That would have freaked me out 15 years ago. Don't
yeah.
matter.
They
Yeah,
shake a house.
yeah, yeah.
That's what it is, But
Mate,
everyone's different.
smashed my little house.
Everyone's different.
They are. And situations change. And all we can do is just do what we're doing now and love it and keep those boots on and have fun and bring. I love that when I can see you on site, you're like, I feel like you're the me, you're my sister. You're the one on crew who's trying to do what you can to lift everyone to, hey, we're here. Let's just try and do what we can to enjoy it and get on.
I'll be honest. Yeah. I'll be honest. Like I was definitely that guy. Something changed. Something happened. Something changed.
Oh, changed already.
Nah. I don't know what it was. Like it was just. I don't know. You got. And I was always like, but when you walk in the room in the morning and you're just like, yeah, man, let's rock and roll. Or it's like you walk in, you're like, hey, how's everybody? Because you're just faced with
you got to find the level.
People that have got, sometimes people have got this, I don't know, let's just say there's some people where you're like, how are you? And they're like, well, I'm here. And you're like, oh, that's
I'm alive, woke up today.
I'm so glad for you that you've that's your stoic response to everything. There's some people where you're like, oh, how are you? And now don't just say nothing. They just don't say anything.
Exactly.
So
just don't ask them.
And then and sometimes you become a bit woke. Like I'm someone where I come in, I want to know I want to know everything. I want to get in. I want to get involved. Everywhere I work, if I start at the bottom, in 12 months I'm in a management supervisor, assistant or something. It's just how it works. I never sit at the bottom for long. And not that there's anything wrong with the bottom, but I'm always keen. I want to learn more. Show me more. Tell me how it works, man. Show me the numbers. I'm interested. I want to be a part of the machine. I want to help it run. But you got some people that just belong where they are, and that's fine, and they're happy with that. But that's not me. So sometimes in a role sometimes you're not, and I'm not. So I kind of hit a wall a little while ago where I was like, okay, I kind of was told like this is it. I thought this was going to be rocket science. I thought this was going to take forever to master, but it didn't. Of course it didn't. So by the time I knew what I was doing, I was like, this is it. And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, and I was literally told like, this is it. This is it. There's no more growth.
There's no higher.
You're an operator. You're an operator, right? You're an operator. This is it, right?
You're not an opportunity to.
No, you're not putting. There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to put your name forward to go into supervisory, but everybody did the same thing. And everybody was told, hey, put your name forward and see what happens. You're never going to dangle a carrot in front of me. I don't play games like that. I'm not a teenager. I'm not silly. I don't do that. So, who knows what's coming next for Mitch. But, it happens. I saw things a little bit differently. And I even tell my guys, I'm honest about it. I say, look, I'm sorry that, I'm not as bloody pumped up as I used to be, But then I've come back from it a little bit since. So I was aware of what I was told, and I've had a bit of a bounce back, and now, but you're right, I am that, I'm giving the guys curry, I'm winding everybody up, and when someone's sad, and or someone's just been a sad sack, they're intentionally doing it. I'm like, geez, mate, it must be fun being your mates. I just turn around and walk away, like, how's it going? They're like, I'm like, yeah, it's a good answer, mate. So, like, let's pump it up. Let's have a good time. Let's get some lollies, get some chockies. Let's go and, steal some shit from the bloody crew hut. Let's go find some stuff. Let's have a good time. I don't know. Let's go, I don't know, have a laugh. Geez, we have some great fun, eh?
Yeah.
We stuff around
just
so much.
Lighten up.
It's just
lighten
hilarious.
the fuck up.
Lighten up, man. It's like, dude,
right?
fucking
Let's
relax.
let's just lighten up. Stop moving dirt. That was a big thing after work at one band camp I was at, and we were having beers, and we'd start off. If you talk work, you have to have a drink. Like, you got to right. But it always would end up, we're moving dirt, we're talking about the day, we're talking about the this, the that, and it was the defragging of the week or the day or whatever. But it was stop moving dirt. I was like, oh, okay, what else do we got to talk about? Oh, there's
what else are you going to talk about? Because it's funny, because I don't talk about home.
Football, shooting, pigging up here. They all do pigging. But do you know they don't shoot a pig? They stab them, and the dogs get them, and then they kill them with a knife. And as soon as I found out that, I was like, I can't. So they'd be, especially when it's raining, they're all sitting around with their pig hunter fucking magazines, or their shooting magazines, or they're in there watching a video, because sometimes we had, movie nights, because it rains a lot over here. In certain crib huts, you could do stuff like that, and they're watching shoot up bloody things, and I'd be like, right, this is me, so I've got this is where I'm sleeping. This desk is where I'm working, so I'd take all my lists, all my Mad Mumsy stuff. I'd take my iPad and my little Bluetooth keyboard, and I'm like, I'm doing shit. You can watch your stuff. Oh, my God. And other people would be reading the, That's Life and New Idea and all those sort of magazines, or
people read a lot, eh?
There was always the library area. Yeah, we'd pass books around when it rained and stuff like that. So, do you know we've ticked over to 4 hours?
I told you. When I said 3, you were like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's going to be 3 hours, man.
Yeah, and I said, don't tell Mad Mumsy that. I can go forever. So what we might do is we really don't need these answers, but we'll try to keep these short, and we will wrap it up, because I've got to go over and visit my mum and put her bins out, and I've got to change the prices of her art on her website. I might tell her I'll come and do it after work tomorrow, because I might do it wrong now. I've had a couple of beers. I'll walk across the road. Yeah, and then it'll go sideways. Yeah, I'm walking over. I'm not touching her website. Mercury's in retrograde, and I've had beers. I'm not doing it. Okay, Mitch, what's your favourite roster, and what are some of the ones you've done so far?
Well, the only one I've done so far has been 2 and 1.
1 year of mining.
I know. And what's funny about that too, though? I think it's relevant because I'm still... You got to be in it to... I'm not jaded. I think that's what's funny, why this works, because I'm still fresh.
Yes,
right?
yes.
The things I talked about initially, I wouldn't really talk about again now. Yeah, new eyes, correct. Because a lot of people are spun out. They're like, no way. And they think I'm like 4 or 5 years in. I'm like, nah, man, I haven't even won yet. And they're like, they disbelief. So, but nah, 2 and 1 is it. And I think it's awful. Only because I lose nearly 2 full days because of where I live. So people think it's bad already that live near an airport. It's worse for me, but I really don't mind it. I really don't mind, but it's a long time. Every time you look at the calendar, it's another month. That's what happens. A month rolls over rather than a week or a swing or a day. Round. It's a month at a time. Yeah. It just goes a month at a time. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. You think 5 and 2 goes quick. Try like days. How do you do with night shift, and do you have any sleeping tips?
I sleep during the day fine. So I'm one of the rare people that can just sleep during the day. I'm fine. I have no transitional day after. So when we go from days to nights, we work the day, and I fall asleep at 9 o'clock that night. Most people want to stay up till about 3 in the morning, something, and make themselves really knackered so then they can just start sleeping through the day. I don't. I can't even stay up past 9. I'm cactus. I got no nights. So I sleep at 9. I wake up at 6 the next morning, and then I go and have brekkie with one of the other guys. And then I go to bed at the latest 12 o'clock the next day, because then you're up at 4. So then you get a 4-hour little block of a good sleep, and then you start your shift. So I'm telling you, day one is going to shit. It's not going to work, right? You're going to be cactus. Might even start at midnight. Midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Pick any one of them. Sometimes you look at the time and it's 10 o'clock, and you're like, wow, I've been here for, it feels like I've been here for hours, and you've only been there for 2. It sucks, eh? And it ruins your night already.
Not even first grim yet. Oh, my God.
I know, and you're like, what?
But then you just get into, like, time is so relative, and you just get into something happens, or there's a thing, or before you know it, it's, oh, shit, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And one of the things I always like to say too is that a lot of people will say when the sun starts to come up, that's when they get tired. And I say, well, if you keep telling your brain that, it's going to be true, right? Because your brain's going, oh, sun's coming up, time to get tired. Whereas I say that's when I wake up more, because that means that it's going to be time to go home soon. As soon as you start seeing that glimmer of light coming up,
you got to power back up.
Getting closer to going home. I can do a few more laps.
We kind of get that. Yeah, we kind of get that. Yeah, it's funny because it's like, but there is there's chemical release in your body when the sun rises and sun sets. It's your natural, it's your body's way of responding to the sun to tell you it's time to sleep and it's time to wake. So you have to fight that. That's why it takes so long. That's why it takes 4 to 5 days to get in the rhythm of being awake, because you're getting to a point where your brain is supposed to be in REM. It's primed. It's ready. It's supposed to be in that deep sleep, and that's your kind of, midnight, 1 o'clock-ish or whatever, when you would have normally had some light sleep for a few hours, and now you're sitting right into deep sleep. But you're awake, so your brain's going schizo, doesn't know what's going on. And then my thing is about that 2 or 3 o'clock, but the first couple of nights it's like 1-ish. And then the thing is, it's like if you were ever at home when you were younger and you were partying with your mates and everything was good and you were full of beans, you were top gear, and then you're walking around town and the sun starts rising and you go, your brain goes, dude, you fucked up. You're supposed to be asleep. What are you doing? And you're like, crash hard. So I don't get that on site. Now, I don't, like you said, I get when the sun comes up, I'm pat, mate. I'm packing me gear. I'm walking around the truck. I'm making sure we're all good. I'm like, mate, it's time for us to friggin' leave this shit. I'm out, and you get your second wind, which sucks because I'm in an opportunity where, correct, right? And I'm in an opportunity in my truck where it's like I can park up and I can have my break. So I can have a 20-minute kip. So I can do that at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock latest. But if you miss it, if your brain is scrambled and fried and you're like, cool, I take a little inflatable pillow that I stick up next to my head, and I inflate it just perfect to cradle my head. Yeah, have a little nap. So because the numbers are still going to be there from what you're doing no matter what, because you're working through it anyway. But if you miss that and it's like 3:30 comes and you are falling asleep, you can't keep yourself awake, then you've got problems. You need to have a little nap, because I still got to drive back from where I am to camp, which could be 15 to 45 minutes, depending on where I am in the mine. So you don't want to be driving a truck with the sun rising in your face and you are cactus. you got to self-manage that sort of thing as well. So that kind of happens. And this is me sleeping 8 hours as well through the day. But something about night, your brain just knows it. So let's fast forward to like day 4, day 4, and you start to come good. And you're energized through the night. You're not watching the clock the same. It's not the same, right? So you're doing all right. Yeah, you're pumping away. Everything's good. Then you pack your shit at the end and you're like, man, I am sweet. The last 2 days, 2 or 3 days, you'll probably be as good as you're going to be. And it's so funny, I tell you, it doesn't get better from one night shift to the next. You go through this whole program again. And we all do it. Me and the guys I work with all do it. I've got one guy that loves night shift, but he is a zombie the entire time. But he loves it. He just likes it. You're avoiding the heat. You're avoiding the flies. You're avoiding, the client. Sometimes they're not coming out as much. There's not as much shit going on. Yeah. You're not getting bugged by people. You're not filling out paperwork as much. It's a little bit different at night. So, but yeah, long story short, night shift sucks. I don't know. Night shift sucks. I sleep, man. I just sleep. Every chance I get, I just go, and it's so funny. I had a mate come up, one of my guys. He comes up, he walks up, because my truck hasn't moved in a little while, right? So every 10 minutes I should move to the next hole. So my truck hasn't moved. He walks over. He's having a dart. He walks over, and he reckons there's me just like on the door glass of the truck, just asleep, my face smushed on the glass. And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll leave him alone." And he goes back to his truck, and then he looks over, and my truck's moving. So I've woken up, driven forward to the next hole. And then before I've even launched the tool in the hole or anything, I've just fallen back to sleep. And he's come back over to come and chat with me. He's like, "Man, you didn't even launch the tool. You were just asleep again."
Oh, my God.
And I was like, "Hey, I tried. At least I'm still keep the truck running, man." I've pulled up and I've activated all the system. It's locked the truck in place. It's in park and everything. But instead of actually pressing send to drop the tool down the hole, I've just...
So you did the safe bit, the last bit. Yeah,
I did all the bit that mattered, and then I just went, no, instead of... Yeah. And he was like, man, it was so funny, eh? Like, you just can't believe I woke up, I just went back to sleep like nothing ever happened.
Well, I did that once on, I was in a water cart and they were washing down the drill, getting ready for a service, and it was over in the boondocks, like where the yowies were, so it wasn't near the pit or anything, no lights. And the cleaning people in their sperm suits were there, and there was no automatic make the hose go. You had to have your foot on the accelerator.
Oh,
Long
yeah,
story
keep the
short,
pump running,
I fell asleep
with
my foot on the accelerator, and because you got to watch them, and they'll come out and they'll go, turn it off, and while they move, and then you're good, Anyway, I fell asleep. Next minute, old mate's knocking on the window. I was like, what? And I fell asleep with my foot flat on the accelerator, and I'd been there for over nearly 2-3 hours. How I didn't run out of water, I don't know, because it was on, off, on,
it's
off.
just pumping everywhere.
And my supervisor had been calling up on the two-way a couple of times. Are you done over there yet, Leanne? I'm like, no. It's bloody hell, they're high maintenance. I'm like, yeah, right, stinking drillers, that's what we used to call them. High maintenance.
They are their own crew, that's for sure.
Oh. Yeah, for sure. Now, what do you do with your old PPE? You probably haven't got much old PPE yet. And everyone knows what it is now. They never used to before COVID. Personal protection equipment, like your hard hats and your high vis. Do you wear it if you go fishing or at home, or you never wear high vis at home?
No, well, I do have. I haven't got my spares at home, yeah. So the pants, definitely. So if you're working on the car or whatever and you got to do grease and kneel down because you've got the knees are padded, the knees are, good pockets. Yeah, definitely keep them. The shirts and that, I reckon they're going to be good for, because I live near a place where there's a lot of fishing. So that I would get a lot of value out of that. I've got good jackets and stuff from previous places I've worked, and I keep them for that because definitely if you go overboard, if you go over the edge off a cliff or something like that, if you go bush walking and you get lost or something like that, I think old PPE is great. Definitely, yep. I'll have it for that. I use it for that. And the good thing is it's hardy. And even the gear I wear now, I work with guys that look like they work in a coal mine, and it doesn't make any sense to me because I can keep my clothes clean, but I've been like that for years. I just get allergic to dirt, and it just I repel it somehow. But I'm like that, eh? But it's good. I think make the most of it, eh? Even if we cut the sleeves off and just make them into, like a sleeveless thing you can use while you're out in the garden, just to get a bit of sun on you, stay cool or whatever. No, they're good.
Yeah, because there's it's a question I ask most people, and there's a varying degree. Some people always wear them at home if they're mowing or fishing or like working on cars and shit, which makes sense. And then there's the other mindset of I'm not at work, I'm not wearing high vis, which was me.
Yeah, I've heard that before, yeah.
I only wear high vis when I'm at work, that's
funny.
how I was. So, that's why I asked that question. Now,
it is. People are very one or the other. They get like that, but I'm like, I've got a thing about work uniforms. I'm pretty proud to have a job, and I like to put my gear on and have it all look neat and tidy, and get suited up and get ready for my day. So it's weird. I kind of keep there's a value in having that kind of gear to me. It's purposeful clothing. So it's kind of strange, a bit weird, I suppose, but mate, you get it for freebie. Bloody use it.
It's free, and like you say, it's hardy, and it's they're tough, and they're old favourites. Let's face it. By the time they get for the fishing pile, they're old favourites. So, and what about your boots? Good. I saw your latest TikTok was all about new boots. So, have you got any events around boots? Have you ever had a critter in them yet?
Nah, I keep all my stuff in my room. But some people do leave them out of their rooms, and I think that's crazy because all the bloody lizards in it. Some sites,
you're not allowed to keep your boots in your room.
Yeah, wow. Oh, contamination because of asbestos and stuff like that, eh? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, that's what it is. Yeah, because contamination. So, no, that's the lead. I think lead is like that. They're not allowed to keep their clothes or anything. They got to change out before they come back to their room. Lead mining and that. Yeah. But like I've got my pair from one of my last gigs. I've just put aside. I like to, sometimes I'll just pass them on to the old man and give him something to thrash around in for a while. But this time I had a pair fail on me, and I've had to move on to another pair, and we'll see how they go. But if I can do a pair a year, I'll do it. Keep the old ones for going bush, collecting firewood or whatever, for sure. But a good boot. I mean, if you've got them, they tend to do the split. They do the split on the, when you got so that's the toe, that little spot there on the inside where the steel cap would just crease. They tend to split there. If they don't do that, I mean, there's years of life left in them. So if you can share them with somebody, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So there's one new ones I got now that, like the new ones now, I don't know how they're going to go. Like I say, I've got a foot like a duck and a high arch. So if they come good, they'll be all right. But we'll see what happens.
Yes. I had Penny Crawford from Crawford Boots on the podcast. Episode 86, I think. And,
it wasn't long ago,
yeah, they're underground boots, mostly, the high ones. And I learned so much about boots then. But we've got a boot tree. Have you seen boot trees yet?
I've seen a boot tree, yeah.
You've seen a boot tree?
I've seen a boot tree.
Get your own
I only saw it a few weeks ago. And it is. Yeah, at home. No, it's funny because we don't really.
Got one.
we'll walk around camp and then we'll just like, wow, this is before the heat set back in, and we're like, wow, how cool is this? It's like it's cool because it's funny because the camp is so regulated and so prim and proper. To see something like that was a bit more wholesome. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, just random where people. And if you are listening and you don't know what the hell we're talking about, it's usually where you throw your boots when you're leaving. It's like, I'm out of this joint, and you leave your boots. And it's a big part of Steel Cap Sisters and what we do and our What Boots podcast and all the branding and everything around that. So, yeah, my sister's got a gutsy one at Mandurah where they are. When I'll have to come visit you when I come over and visit my sister, for sure.
That's funny. I did a bit of time in Mandurah too, though. I know the area quite well. Yeah,
oh, it's lovely.
Ago. Wasn't
nice.
the best. Wasn't the best time. Wasn't the best time of my life. But Mandurah was a different place back then as well. So
yeah, but don't take that out on the town. Yeah, you can't take that out on the town. Man. But you do. Nah. It's natural. It's human. Yeah. Well, we might start to wrap up. My last major question is, what is your special place when life turns to shit? How do you personally handle tough times? What are your strategies to hang in there, Mitch?
That's a tough one, eh? I don't know. I'm a weird one. I don't really let things get to me where I need to have a special place. You know, the places for me exist in my mind. It's more of a mindset than a physical place, because a physical place can be taken away from you. If you've got a physical place that you rely upon and then one day it's gone, then what are you going to do? So mine, sorry, I don't have a yes or no answer to that question, because mine's more of a mindset, a mind frame. I think I move a little too fast in my mind to actually stop and smell the roses and actually have a relaxing place in the world. So, yeah, that's going to be me. I've got no answer to that one. Sorry.
No, you know what is interesting is how you really related the word special place to a place. To me, yes, it's a place, but it's definitely the mindset that you are in when you go to the place.
It's a place in time.
So like barbecue. For me, I think barbecuing or, something.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I have such a complicated mindset. So I've got the pool I can be hanging out in. I've got my shed, which is a very well-equipped workshop. Very, very well-equipped. I had a business, and I've migrated all that into my own sort of personal life. So I've got anything I need. I've got the bar, and anything I want, I've always got. I've got the barbecue area. I've got the theatre, but happiness is a state of mind. It's not what you surround yourself with. It's weird. It's complicated. Yeah, I could be happy just sitting there doing nothing.
Exactly.
Just anywhere. I live on the coast. I've got a beautiful surrounding. I've spent many times at the beach with my car watching the sunset with my family. We used to do it 4 nights a week. And I haven't done it in probably 12 months, and I still feel the same as I did about it then. So it's kind of strange, eh? I wish I had somewhere I could just go and it'd be an easy answer, because then I could just easily enjoy it. I want to be simple, but unfortunately I'm not.
No beating yourself up boots needed at all, because it's also, to me, it shows that life doesn't turn to shit that often for you.
If you let things have too much power, and when it comes to influencing how you feel, you've kind of let go. You've lost control already. If you let it have a situation where something can just change around you and it's crash and burn, my mind's frazzled, I'm fried, it's all over. You already had everything teetering on the edge to begin with. You were never happy, really. You were never really in control of anything. you put too much weight on things. If all it takes is the tiniest little thing, the tiniest little pebble for the whole thing to collapse, you've put too much faith in that tiny little thing. To me, I'm like, I give everything a little bit. You know, if something goes skew, if that gets taken away from me, the whole thing doesn't collapse because I didn't give it enough power that one thing could have such an influence over the whole thing. I mean, I could lose my job tomorrow. That could be the end of it. But I've got enough money put away that there's absolutely no stress to what happens next. It's just weird. My car could break down tomorrow and not run at all. And I'll walk. I'll figure it out. You know, we'll be right. That's it. I don't know. You give things too much power, then things have power over you. That's what I think it is, though. And then you're a victim of your own circumstances. But yeah, it's all a state of mind. It's all doom and gloom the way I say it.
No, that was so powerful. I was listening. I'm like, yeah, now you need to hear this, Mad Mumsy.
Isn't it weird though? You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, people, I can talk like this all the time because it's just, I'm very mechanically minded in a way where things are, it's yes or it's no. It's A or it's B. It's not, you know, it's not floating around in the air. It's like you either do it or you don't. You know, the hardest thing about doing anything is just getting it done.
You have a place or you don't.
Yeah. You have a place or you don't. It's like, come on, tell me, what are you doing here? I don't know. Well, come on, mate. That's not good enough, you know? So, yeah, I don't know.
That answer was totally good enough, and I loved it. Thank you so much. Where is the best place for people to get in touch with you? If they need more Mitch on mining
they need more Mitch
in their life, or barbecues, or what are they called? Hot rods? Hot cars?
Hot wheels. Model cars, toy cars, yeah. So you can you can catch up with us on TikTok. So Mitch On Mining on TikTok. So Coops on Cooking or Cooper's Cars, if that's your kind of thing. The Mitch On Mining is the same on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm definitely this year going to try and do the long form YouTube stuff. So I will go back through videos, or while I'm doing a video, I'll say, look, if you want to catch up with more of this, head to the YouTube channel, really trying to grow the YouTube. And then, have that more informed information, more discussed. It's still just going to be the same thing as me just here in front of the camera. You know, I'm not really savvy with editing and all this sort of magical stuff that they do on computers. But yeah, a little bit more of a conversation where I'll use the comments from those 60-second reels to give me that sort of feed so I can make those YouTube videos and have proper sort of 10-minute chats and things like that. So, TikTok for now, but trying to get that YouTube cranking so we can build a bit of a stronger audience there.
Beautiful. Sounds good. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Is there anything else you would like to say to call this episode complete for you?
Just I think generally when it comes to the theme that we're working with here and what we're talking about, use the information that's being provided, use the tools that are being provided by people like us, you know, like Mad Mumsy, Mitch On Mining. You know, if you can get anything from what we're doing, then get on board. You know, ask the questions, get in the comments, have a chat. If you've got a question, ask it, because we can't answer everything without knowing what you want to know about. And take it from us. You know, we're there, we're doing it, we're living it. So, you know, do away with some of the wives' tales. Take it from the people that are actually doing it, not the people that are glorifying it and making it something it's not. And don't listen to the people that say it's all shit and it's a nightmare. Every job has its pros and cons. FIFO is not a blanket bloody shit thing or an amazing thing or whatever. This is just life. It's just what we do. It's a category. It's whatever. So I don't know. Listen in, subscribe, follow, and ask questions. And that helps us build our content.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Mitch, for this epic.
No worries.
Don't hang up yet, though, by the way. Thanks so much for this epic episode. I can't wait to share it. And let's face it, people can listen to this between first and second crib because we got hours and hours to kill out on site. Or when we're traveling and when we're on the plane, and there's shit like, long form is good. It's time to say goodbye now. We could chat all day, and I think today we did. All the links we discussed in this episode are at madmumsy.com/beers89. Until next time, stay safe, be real, be special, and have fun, for we only live once. Cheers.